I'll start off with some pavement. It's the Bennington Show. I'm Ron Bennington. There's Gail Bennington.
Yo.
I am Ron Bennington. We are prepping for the hottest World Series game in the history of the planet Earth. A lot of times people complain about the World Series, that it comes around too late, that it's too cold or whatever. This year they believe they're going to get the hottest game in Los Angeles, California. Are they playing in L.A.?
They're playing in L.A. tonight, yeah.
A state on fire, and a state that is, like they like to say about themselves, we're first to global warming. So that's great.
That's not something you should brag about.
There are people talking about it being 90 degrees, which I don't understand how that could happen at night in L.A., but I'll get to the bottom of it. Don't worry. I'm very, very good friends with a lot of people at the Weather Channel. They let me know when a storm is coming, too. I'll hear 2 or 3 days in advance.
What? That is...
So I can prep myself.
How do you know that information?
Well, I asked them how they know that, and they simply said magic. I guess there was an old wizard who was interested in the weather back in the time of the Game of Thrones.
That's my favorite era.
Yeah, the 1980s. A lot of people don't know that Game of Thrones is based in the 1980s.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. That's why they always have MTV on in the background. And early VH1, which wasn't a hit right off the bat because housewives didn't want to watch. You know, they didn't care if they could see Dan Fogelberg. They just want to listen to him. So, in a couple of minutes, we're going to announce another Unmasked, but last night with Judah Freelander was just fantastic.
It was so cool, and he's such a... I think that it's awesome if you are a fan of Judah Freelander because he really gives a side of himself that I heard people commenting after that they were not aware of his depth.
But yeah, Bruce Wayne showed up.
Yeah.
There was a lot of Bruce Wayne in this Batman interview, which, I mean, I just love Judah. I just crazy about him. And I don't know whether I've ever had another guest that was so excited to have their poster. They're like, this poster's great.
I know. He was taking pictures of the poster. It looked awesome.
Yeah, he was crazy about the poster.
And he was such a sweetheart because he stuck around. He said hello to everyone. He was taking pictures. He was signing stuff.
Dude, I've, sometimes we'll be out on the sidewalk somewhere, and someone will just come along and be like, Judah. You know what I mean? Like, out of nowhere. Like, they can't believe they're actually, like, that person really exists. And then he's always so sweet and kind to everybody he meets. There's a lot of heart, Judah. So in a few moments, we will announce another Unmasked coming up. And I believe this came from the top of Sirius XM.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they'll go like, well, most of the time it's our idea who to get, but sometimes Sirius is like, we got this person for you. Thank you. Say thank you to us.
Thank you.
Excuse me, I got a little cough from all the construction taking place outside my door.
It's nonstop. Half the floor is under construction for the last 2 months.
Yeah, but before that, the other half of the floor, and it's just these hallways are like New York, where you're like, oh, when this gets done, it'll be nice. But no, it'll
never be done.
They tear up something else as soon as that's done.
And there is just a dust that seems to just be in the air right now, particularly over there. I don't know what they're kicking up. Asbestos, I guess.
I get very subversive, and I try to, put it in their subconscious. And I just sing "Dust in the Wind" as I go by.
Oh, they'll get it.
Close my eyes.
It'll take them a while,
but it's all just hanging right now.
Do you want a tea?
No, I hate tea. Boy was drinking tea.
The boy looked to Johnny Brown, but the music kept.
There was hand knives and switch knives and fucking great.
Started laughing hysterically.
That's the best impression right there, dude. That I didn't even know was an impression to have. That was very good. You could be the next. What is it? MTP? What does she call it?
MKP.
MKP. What's it stand for?
Something King Petunia.
Oh God.
Major King Petunia.
That can't be right. Who would say that? A lot of insanity out there. Vito, there's a lot of insanity.
The kids are weird these days. or random, as I hear them say.
I didn't know they still called themselves Random. That's great.
That
Were they
hurts
next
me
level?
so much.
Were they next level Random?
Yeah, they were next level rando.
Oh, jeez.
I don't know if that's something kids would say, but
No.
it feels like they would.
You know, when I'm talking to a kid, I just try to drop the last syllable. I go, "That's fantastic." You know? And they're like, "What?" I go, "Yeah, like we all say these days.
You know how we do.
You know how we do's it. When we do's it, we do's it. You know? Can't excuse it because we's going to do's it." I only get on the Shizer list by using his.
Mm-mm.
Is it Shizer list?
Yeah.
Shizer list.
Shizer.
Yeah, this makes sense. Coming up in a little bit, about 20 minutes, Art Garfunkel.
So awesome.
Yeah. What's the name of the book he has here?
The name of the book is What Is It All But Luminous? Notes from an Underground Man.
See, I could never write a book titled that. It would be too much. I just call mine Fuck Time and just be me. What do you mean you can't put this in the window? That Pavement song stuck in my head now.
It'll do that.
They always say two of the greatest American singers of all time, Art Garfunkel and myself.
Really? That's the two that they list.
Well, my mom says that. I don't know if anybody else does. My mom's kind of, she's on my side.
Voice of an angel.
Yeah. Ankle, she said. She said, I was born with the voice of an ankle. He looks much younger on this book, though.
Yeah, this is a younger.
Oh, okay. That's a younger picture of him.
Look
Chris-
at how beautiful that photo is, though.
Yeah, I know. I always thought that his album covers looked like he looked fantastic in all of his album covers.
He's glowing.
Yeah, he is. Well, everybody loved him but Paul. Isn't that it? You see the part of the book where he says George Harrison he met, and George Harrison's like, yeah, my Paul's gonna have trouble too.
Yeah, I
They
love
both
that.
had trouble with their Pauls.
Your Paul is to mine is yours to me. I love that.
My Paul is your Paul, your Paul is my Paul. It doesn't even make sense. What if we just start singing that to him when he comes in?
Don't, please, because now you put it in my head. I might just do it.
What if I just keep talking to him about Paul Simon? Isn't he the best?
No,
I mean, nice man. It is funny how a lot of artists are. It's not a lot of fun to be around them. You know what I mean?
yeah, I think particularly musicians have like a specific type of mind and a way of communicating and a way of thinking that I think sometimes can be a little prickly to be
Yeah,
around.
I don't think you'd want to be around any author. I don't think Philip Roth is probably
That's true,
a
yeah.
blast.
I think most people that you would be like, oh, that's my hero. They're my favorite filmmaker. They're my favorite actor. They're my favorite musician. Most of them you would probably do better not knowing on a personal level.
I'm going to take it to all. The only film directors that they say are easy to get along with is probably Steven Spielberg and me. Those are the two.
Really?
Well, that's according to my mom. She's a film critic right
She's
now.
really generous to you.
Yeah. She's a film critic for the LA Slimes. You know what I mean?
It means that you don't like the paper.
I don't like any fake news. Thank you very much. I consider all news fake news. All information is false. I get my news from someplace I can trust, the internet. I go to a site called here'swhatreallyhappened.com. And the Illuminati, I got to be careful when I even talk about this. So I'm not going to, let's just say that I got this from something called Seep Throat. Okay? Who I trust very much. But the Illuminati had found out that there's a reptile alien nation that's running the actual government.
Oh my
Okay?
God.
The shadow government. And by the way, the USA I started calling Jew-SA. I hope that doesn't make me come off as anti-Semitic. 'Cause
Does a little.
it's the last thing on my mind. That they run everything. Okay?
Seems anti-Semitic.
including Halloween, because every candy corporation, all right? That's why they're constantly pushing this Halloween thing.
1/5 of Chris Stanley is offended right now.
Handsome Johnny Tube Steak just walked on. Handsome Johnny's buddy doesn't work here anymore, huh? Remember they used to be like a twosome?
No, it does not work. He works for I believe a hip hop company now.
Really?
Yeah.
That's what I'd like to do. This hip hop thing is the future. Trust me.
Has this person gone before I got here? Because I've always seen him as a loner. He's always roaming the halls alone.
Well, I think he wants people to think that he's alone, but well, he is alone, if I'm going to be totally honest. Are we ready to announce, Chris, or we're not ready to announce? I know there's some...
Don't believe we're ready to announce just this second.
You believe we are?
I believe we are, yeah.
You believe we are ready or
are not ready?
My God, you're bad at passing information and at starting a show. Last night, we got Chris Stanley.
Technical difficulties.
There were some technical difficulties. There was some bad engineering.
The audience was forced to clap for 25 fucking straight minutes.
I don't know.
Which they did willingly. Thank God.
And I'm like, I know we are going to close the show out with 8 seconds of Tiny Dancer. I feel it happening. Right before the special moment. Yeet, yeet. That sound that I was making, and I'm kind of the Charlie Callis of the 1990s. That was a rug being pulled out from underneath of us. It sounds like this. Yeesh. It also sounds like when someone pours out a bowl of spaghetti. Yeesh.
I don't know if that sounds...
Well, I have a new album coming out called Jesus Christ. And is it edgy? 10-4, good buddy. Okay. That's the kind of slang I use. Slang the truckers get. But anyway, we're pretty excited about this. It'll be dropping very soon. And I'm having an album release party at Madison Square Garden.
Whoa.
20,000 invited guests will be there with me. And we will fly you in from all over the world. Anywhere on the planet Earth. I got to pick up 13 tickets from Ethiopia right now. Tiny seats. Small, thin seats. Vito, favorite African nation?
Zimbabwe.
How come?
I've heard it referenced in songs a lot. You know
Name
what?
one. Sing one for me.
Zimbabwe.
You're making that up, dude. You're making it up. You got caught in another one of your lies, didn't you?
Did.
Okay.
What about
good.
Zulu? The Zulu nation.
That isn't around anymore. That's like saying, oh, my favorite nation is Apache. You know what I'm saying? Chris.
Morocco. I'm going Northern Africa.
That's, to me,
no?
That's cheating. There's no black people in Morocco, and that shows your racism. Gail.
Let me go Madagascar.
Oh. We've got a cartoon, and it's also...
I've never seen it, but I'm sure it's very good.
It's unfucking believable. Those little animals talk like people. You know what I mean? Dumb people, but people. Like they're innocents. You know, they've got an animal innocence about them. My favorite African nation, South Africa of the early 1980s.
What is it about South Africa in the early 1980s that you like?
Wink. Wink. It's another one of my sound effects that I do. I might be up for Police Academy 7. Did you just start swinging a newspaper at someone like it's...
Vito.
Did you swat at one of our employees?
Whenever I finish my cup of coffee, I throw it into the garbage can behind me.
Why do you act like that's new?
Yeah, just a little something I came up with.
I pretend I'm playing basketball.
I did think that he went swatted like a newspaper, like down.
Like
did someone pee on the rug?
Like he was trying to tell Harvey Weinstein, stop groping Harvey. No.
Bad.
Put that away. I'm not massaging you, Harvey Weinstein. You're not going to get me to go in the shower with you, Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein. What a beautiful name. He actually wanted to have that with himself.
That reference is very funny to me. And I hope other people get it.
No one's going to get that. No one gets any of my stuff. Wink. Wink.
Well, that helps.
Jaman, how you doing, buddy?
How about us?
Hey, buddy.
You, Ronnie B, you bought your Super Bowl tickets yet?
You know, I know everyone's all pumped up, and I'm excited. I even got an email from my cousin last night going, can we get a little more Eagles talk on the show? As if there's not enough radio stations to talk about that. But I remember when Jaman here thought that the Panthers were going to beat the Philadelphia Birds. Then he got quiet.
I don't remember that.
Then he got quiet.
This year.
I'm starting to think that you're Twitter, G-Man. You're such a troll.
Hey, Pepper.
Yeah.
Keep your fucking fat head out of an Eagles hat. You understand me?
That is...
Don't you ruin this.
100%.
I'll fucking stab you to death.
know.
I'll stab you on the street.
Not.
And then when they put me up for murder charges, I'll gladly go in there and I'll act as my own lawyer. But I request that we have this in the city of Philadelphia. Preferably South Philadelphia. That's where I'll be tried.
Did you allow yourself to be excited yesterday, or are you still cautiously?
Look, this is a very exciting thing. It's nice. We're not even halfway through the season.
I know.
Okay? So let's all take our times. I'll take you through year by year when the disappointment hits, but they seem to be a good team.
Yes. They are
seem
a
to
good
be
team.
a good team for this year. I don't think that they could beat, the 1988 49ers.
You don't think we got ourselves a dynasty?
It looks like a dynasty here. People in Philadelphia are uncautiously optimistic.
Yes. My house was cautiously optimistic, now uncautious. After last night was the final straw.
Dude.
And now it's like, it's happening. This is real, and it's happening.
I talked to him before the game, and he was already locked.
Are we set to announce our unannounced?
No, we fucked up. We didn't get this thing set up, and I'm still looking into it. It's probably an engineering problem. Is it the engineer again, Chris?
I don't believe so.
Yeah. All right. Let's just announce. So, Chris, you go ahead and do the announcement.
The next guest on Unmasked, which is happening Tuesday, November 7th at 4:30 p.m. at the SiriusXM studios, is Eliza Schlesinger.
Yeah.
Her new book, Girl Logic, The Genius and the Absurdity, comes out the same day. And go to ibang.com for a chance at free tickets. It's Elijah Schlesinger, Unmasked.
Do you realize that you said it came out the same day? Go.
Oh, God.
Chris.
And Vito, aren't you Italian?
I'm very Italian.
Is that the most offensive word that you could hear?
Yeah.
Let me ask you a question. Why do you guys refer to each other that way, but we can't say it?
Because that's a term of friendship. So I could call my friends my Dagos, but you guys can't do that.
How do you feel about WAP?
Don't even get me started.
That one's the worst, I think.
Without papers?
That one I think is worse, personally.
This was a joke from when I was a child. What does an Italian flat tire on a car? Maybe it was a Fiat flat tire, but what does it sound like? And the punchline was, "They go wop, they go wop, they go wop, wop, wop." And as a third grader, that kind of offensive-ness was, well, there were literally books back there that would be called like 1,000 Polak jokes.
Yeah.
And the other Italian thing what do you call an Italian virgin? And the answer was faster than her brothers. And I was like, the genius.
Yikes.
The genius that goes on in these books.
Racist and dark.
Also, one of my favorite African countries, Chad. Because it just sounds like a kid from, you know what I mean, from an Ivy League school. Chad.
How do you feel about Kenya?
Kenya. Boy, that's when we were in a nutty fucking time of the internet, right?
Silliness and shenanigans.
Oh.
Only in Kenya.
Art Garfunkel coming up in a few moments. What are you going to bring him into, Chris?
Was thinking of Breakaway.
from his self-titled album Breakaway.
Mhm.
I guess it's not self-titled. It has to be just Art Garfunkel. It's self-titled. But what is that when the song title is in an album? Does that have a name?
When
Chad. It should be called Chad.
It's a Chad album.
Thank you, Chris, for taking it to the next level. This says the exact same thing, bluntly as possible. I want to apologize to you for some of Chris's jokes, Vito. This is a free, comfortable zone for you.
Mhm.
I feel like he doesn't care, and he doesn't care about offending me and my people.
He says sauce instead of gravy. That's where he's at.
That's not
Okay. I know you say gravy. You know what I mean?
Sop up the gravy.
You got to use a piece of bread on that, right? But Italian bread.
Sick of him talking about that.
Hey, we ought to rob that place, Vito.
Doesn't that sound like just like one of your uncles?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we love organized crime.
What is it that you love about organized crime?
The
so much?
organization. This is what's so great.
I'm
I'm
kind
more
of
into-
anal. I like to organize all my crimes.
I like chaotic crimes. Just like anyone, you know what I mean?
Yeah, crime of passion.
Yes.
That's you.
A crime of passion is understandable. You know what I mean? Anybody could freak out and
Yeah.
commit a crime.
That's why anyone loves someone came in and they were like hurting a child or raping a woman, and then they murder them. People love her. Like, love that guy. Crime of passion.
Well, would that be considered a crime of passion, or is that revenge? Well, revenge is even different
Yeah.
than defending yourself.
I would
See,
say,
I would say crime of passion, you get so mad at your wife, you bashed her head in with a hammer. I don't think that if you hit the person who was hitting your wife, I don't think that's a crime of
you
passion.
don't think so?
Because I don't think it's a crime.
What if you take it to, yeah, but what if they're not in danger in that moment? Like, okay, let's say, what if you found out somebody harmed someone and this thing is in the past tense,
Mm-hmm.
and then you find out and then you're just filled with rage that you kill Chris Stanley? I
Is it-
assume it's Chris.
Wouldn't it be revenge crime that I would kill Chris?
Is revenge not passion?
I know. I always say this: revenge, like ice cream, is a dish best served cold.
You know, that's good, but I just feel like the ice cream is unnecessary.
Oh, it's necessary.
takes
I
away-
like a little something sweet after my meal. I don't want to go home with steak taste.
It just takes away from the poetic nature of that statement of just dropping ice cream in. But okay.
I'll say to the waiter, "Do you have anything that could take away this meat taste in my mouth right now? Perhaps something a tad sweeter, like pie a la mode."
Get rid of this umami for me, please.
Now, pie a la mode, that's a problem for you because Gail does not like a cold dish on top of a hot dish.
Yeah.
Really?
It's
Even
like a
when
little
she was
too
a
much.
child,
It was
she
a
would
little
be
too-
like, "Ew," and I like let Daddy finish that for you.
It's the best of both worlds.
I want to get rid of the meat taste right now that I have in my mouth.
Well, I didn't like how rapidly the ice cream would just melt and become warm ice cream soup upon the pie. It really grossed me out as a kid.
Milkish, a little too milkish for you.
Yeah.
Actually, the word milk is a little gross out of everything. Milk. It just sounds like something
Fresh
thick that's
milk.
stuck in your tongue and larynx.
Just
Milk.
a warm cup of milk.
Do you have any warm milk, please? Yes, I drink mine out of a bag, preferably plastic. But if you have a cloth bag, I'll drink as quick as possible.
I'm surprised more people don't bring that up because you know how everyone says moist is the grossest? I've never understood what that is.
Moist?
It's a common thing that everyone's like, grossest word is moist. I've heard so many people say it.
Fucking hipsters, you know?
I don't think
Millennials.
it's
It's the
hipsters.
millennials.
I don't think it's millennials. I
It's
think
the
it's
Generation
just living
Zs.
adults.
Moist milk. I have moist milk, please. Waiter, my milk is a little moist right now. Look, you're being grossed out,
I
Vito.
love the idea of moist milk. And I know milk is just a naturally moist thing because it's liquid, but for some
Is it
reason,
not
moist
moist?
milk.
Have you found that your milk is moist enough for everyone?
Warm, moist milk.
No.
Moishy? Moishy. More moist milk?
Moshi.
But why are you grossed out by words,
No,
Vito?
I'm not. It just for some reason, like moist milk sounds like you're insinuating it's spoiled curdled milk.
No, you're never insinuating that.
What?
That's insane.
That's what moist milk sounds
No,
like.
it doesn't sound like that.
It's
To me,
wet.
it does.
Yeah.
Wet milk.
Wet, fresh, moist milk.
I like wet milk.
What if we were doing a milk commercial? It was just like this: wet, moist milk.
Milk.
You had me until moist. I was all on board for wet.
You know, the kind of milk that you like is chalky. Waiter, please take this milk back. It's very chalky. I prefer moist. Very moist. Let the barkeep know. No, bring it to me in a bucket, please. Oh, bucket of moist milk. No, don't bother cleaning it out. I like the taste of old milk on the edges.
I'll just eat the powdered.
The way I drink milk, straight from the udder.
It's very warm, I would imagine.
My joke with the cow is always this. This one tastes good. How about the udder? And then we laugh first thing in the morning. I get up every day to milk my cows at noon. They are sore by the time I get there. Their udders are just filled.
It is very strange how comfortable we are with the idea of drinking the breast milk of another mammal.
We do.
Like the baby version of said mammal. That's weird.
I've been, and I was raised this way on dolphin milk.
Wow.
Yeah.
I imagine it's salty.
That's why it is. It's a tad salty and seaweedy.
Is it still moist, though?
Goes very moist, like the skin of the dolphin.
Salty milk is worse than moist milk.
I always put a little salt in my milk. Rock salt.
Just a dash.
I drink dolphin milk, and that's why I'm so happy in the rain. I feel like I've been returned to the sea. I'd like to be the first person who walks underwater to England if I get the opportunity. The problem I'm having right now is breathing. I've only been able to make it about 10 yards. Perhaps my friends, the dolphins, would assist me. So we drink cow milk, right?
Yeah.
And
Goat.
a little goat, but no one ever says, do you have any giraffe milk? Is there any zebra milk? And human milk disgusts people.
Yeah, for some reason, the milk that babies are supposed to drink, vile.
Yeah,
We're
that's
drinking it.
disgusting. They don't even like to see babies enjoying it. Ew, that baby's gross.
Ew, why is this whorish woman feeding her baby in public?
Why is this whorish woman feeding her over-sexualized infant? That does look moist, though. Quite moist on her little teethless gums. I think that if you're not born with teeth, you also shouldn't be born with gums. So then you can be like, the gums seem like they're coming in. Before you know it,
It's just like cavernous hole.
yeah, it's just a cavernous hole.
I just saw Vito. I just caught Vito like a little kid. Put his lips over his teeth like, what would that be like?
I thought he was wondering what it's like to blow people. I say people, I mean males.
I have the reflection right here so I can see what it would look like on myself.
Oh, God, Vito. Vito. Is your mom ready for Godfather trivia?
She's really ecstatic about Godfather trivia. She said, I want to know when my gig is.
My
Good.
gig.
I'm going to work. I got to go over our schedule right now. By schedule, I mean schedule. But I was born and raised in England. Fifth Beatle, as I was my initial name, Fifth Beatle. Fifth Beatle Bennington. Sued by the Apple Corporation, the original Apple Corporation, not the fucking idiot computer ones, but the recording studios. Whoa. Art Garfunkel will be here in a couple of moments, and we'll give one more chance for Chris to announce his big unmasked.
That's Elijah Schlesinger Unmasked.
Where?
Happening here at the SiriusXM studios Tuesday, November 7th at 4:30 p.m. Go to the ibang.com for a chance at free tickets.
4:30.
4:30 p.m.
Okay, then I'll hang around after work. Is that okay, Chris?
That's great.
Jesus. let them know I expect time and a half. That's my regular time, and then I want a half time. Last night we were at the stand with our armed security, and I'm like, I'm here all the time. Why is tonight armed security night?
Yeah, isn't that strange?
Why don't they follow me constantly?
I know. Why don't they pick me up from the train?
Why don't they pick you up from your home and take you to the train? All right, Art Garfunkel ready to come in. Name of the book again, Gail?
What Is It All But Luminous? Notes from an Underground Man, and it is available now in stores and online.
All right, let's bring in Art Garfunkel.
Art Garfunkel is in studio with us. What Is It All But Luminous? Notes from an Underground Man is available now in stores and online.
It's not an easy title to say. You did well.
Thank you.
Art, great to see you again. How are you, my friend?
I'm feeling very happy.
Yes.
Way above average today.
Wow, that's good.
In spite of it all, it's a troubled world, but I'm okay.
The book is writings of yours from all different periods of your life.
I have been keeping scraps of paper in my back pocket as I walk across countries, as I live my life. I'm entranced by life, and I write about my marriage, my famous partnership with Paul Simon, my career, my walks across countries, my show business reflections, my family. I keep writing. I've been doing it for 30 years now, Ron. Finally, I put it together and shopped it around and got a book publisher, and I got a good reaction from various publishers.
Was that always your intention? Did you know that you wanted to write a book, or you just like to journal and write things?
I get bitten by a notion. I get a first line. Who will speak at whose funeral? I write about Paul Simon. And I go, oh, that's a good line. That's a grabber. Who will speak at whose funeral? I got to write that down. And then I think, and I know where it's going. I've been thinking about this theme for my whole life. Between a good opener and a theme that you've been thinking about your whole life comes the next 10 hours of fixing, polishing, writing, erasing. Time speeds by while you write one of these things, whatever you call them. I don't like the word poem. You write one of these bits. It takes 10 hours, and I became a writer somewhere in the 80s.
But it has to have that good opening. It has to have that thing that turns you on.
Well, that's what gets me going, like a coffee gets me going. Is there one?
Do you need a coffee? We'll have one.
How do you take it?
Let's take a break, and I'll see if I can. Hang on a second.
Yeah. So Art just walked out of the room looking for a coffee. If we could help him with that, Vito.
Art's book, What Is It All But Luminous? Notes from an Underground Man is available now in stores and online.
To me, that was one of my favorite live radio moments.
It was amazing.
Yeah. So his people just followed him out.
And they're all looking for him.
But that's the beauty of being a star for that many years.
Yes.
That you can just decide out of nowhere, let's take a break.
Yeah.
He seemed like he was a little uneasy in his chair, but everything was going along perfectly.
Seemed good.
Yeah. Now I believe he's sitting in the hallway. He's taking a stroll.
Walking about. I feel like they're looking for him right now.
He's got to have that coffee.
It's very important to him.
So the book, Gail, what made you read this? What made you think to yourself?
Well, I thought I was going to be talking to Art Garfunkel.
Yes.
That's probably why I read it.
Yes, for the same reason.
But I'll be honest, him walking out and kind of seeming just like unstuck from this moment is very, very similar to the vibe of this whole book. It's like very flows in and out of consciousness.
Here's one of my favorites. Whither the people who are moved away when a school expands. That's a great sentence. Now that I am a touring concert artist, here's my tribute to James Taylor. I sing to James Taylor before every show. I do. I warm up in my dressing room to Handyman, Sarah Maria, Song for You, Far Away, Sweet Baby James, Copperline, and about 20 other favorites. Nice.
Yeah, all the pieces are very, it is very stream of consciousness. Like
Yes.
it goes from poetry to lists to kind of talking about a moment in time, but not necessarily like starting from the beginning. This is what happened. That there's no beginning, middle, and end to kind of any story he tells. It's more like the feelings and the thoughts and the memories that kind of swirl around.
This is lovely. This is called I Shan't Be Without My Coffee.
I hope he puts that one in. It's weird that we didn't see it coming.
No, you're right.
We would have had it ready
You're right.
had we known. Well,
Here's one I also like. It's the Pitted Kettle. The resound of 1,000 years invented in Ireland. Grecian earned. Wage of a journeyman. The road of distress and experience. The broken cup of kindness I bear for 1,000 strides.
beautiful.
That's nice. This one killed me to the death. Mike Nichols. Mike Nichols put him in, and I believe this is true, Art, put him in a movie, even though he had never acted before.
Yeah, I feel like he has something about him that you would say, even despite the fact that he's not an actor, like he seemed very natural in his roles. Catch-22 and
The one he did with Jack Nicholson.
right.
What was the name of that film? Art? Cardinal Knowledge. That's it. It's actually one of my favorite films of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Shit.
Believe me, no shit at all, Chris. This is
so unique.
This is fantastic.
I'm not at all.
This is fantastic.
I just hope they've located him because they still look a little
No, I think he's
Okay, good.
been around.
Okay, good.
I hope this doesn't cut into our time. That's what concerns me. Well, that'll be it. Hope this come in. Vito, was it about the coffee or something else?
It was the coffee.
Yeah, just needs it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Good. A lot of times you order it and then stay.
Wait for it.
They're all talking in the hallway now.
I can see. They seem very.
What was your, and I hate to call these poems, as you know, as I stated earlier. Here's Art back. Has his coffee.
There you go. Art Garfunkel is back with us. What Is It All But Luminous? Notes from an Underground Man is available now in stores and online.
Art, you said that you put this book together over many, many years. At what point did you decide, this is a book?
About 3 years ago.
Yeah.
The encouragement of Dan Strone, literary agent, he said, I think it's a book. And I began to see it in that light. And then I started writing an opening, 20, 30 pages of more easy-to-follow prose to get you into the book. And I like how it gets you in. So that was the beginning of a book. I got a wonderful publisher, the famous Vicki Wilson at Knopf. Vicki said, I think this could help with shape, and I began to feel like I have met the master, and I'm going to just follow. She knows the shape of a book better than I do. So 2-3 years ago, I started giving it the form of a proper book.
You know, I was thinking when I was reading this, too, that you've always been so honest in interviews. I've always thought you were always kind of an open book yourself, because some of this writing would be difficult for me to share. You know, things like that.
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. But you're able to do that even at a young age. You're able to talk about things, painful things, or
The whole point, I think, of being a valid artist is to be truthful, particularly about the difficult stuff, the neurotic stuff, the confusion that we all carry within. If you can report honestly, you make other people say, me too.
yeah,
And then you create a release.
yeah.
And this is the artist's job.
But musically, it seemed like even from when you were a young man, your music was to soothe. You know what I mean? When I think of
Soothe, big word for me.
yes, yeah. But a lot of, like you said, you're willing to put out this neurosis and
God save me. Who knows what I'm doing? I accept myself in all of my highs and lows.
Yeah.
There's an angel in me. There's a devil in me. I accept.
And how about when it comes to criticism? Criticism, is that tough for you, or something that you'll also accept?
Well,
that?
what you have in mind?
Well, not my own criticism, but I mean,
okay. Then I'll return to breathing.
Throughout your career, could you sit down and read criticism of your work? Whether
Not particularly.
Yeah.
I need defense mechanisms. For the first few years, you get hurt by them, and then then you say, I'm not going to read them. It's one woman's opinion about what I do. Why should I bother?
Yeah.
I have my opinion about what I do. I think it's an informed opinion. I have good ears about my own records. So I don't look for others to tell me whether I'm good or bad.
You'll just stay away from that kind of stuff? You won't read, or?
I try.
Yeah.
Friends say, oh, you should read this one. This one you love. I say yes, but there are a couple of nasty comments in there.
You've always been, since you were a very young man, a very big part of the city of New York. And Gail and I were talking about this earlier today. That
Our Gail.
yeah, in Central Park when you did the Heart of New York, it was one of those musical moments of this city, you know. And you think of the history of that, but that moment, did you feel that at the time? Did it feel like this is going to be one of those replayed things?
The concert in Central
Yeah.
Park? Or, because you said the Heart in New York. At that particular song, there's a helicopter shot.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if you're speaking
Yes.
of that particular
Yes.
moment where the angle climbs and it looks down and it's a swirl and it really says, what is it all but luminous? What is this life of ours except something that shines and is blurry with tears?
Yeah. And at that moment, that moment still exists. And I remember watching that live on television at the time. And it was at a time where people didn't think New York was at its best. And I remember thinking, God, that's where I want to live. That's where I want to, that's where I want to be.
Good.
And it took, years for me to get here and raise my, kids here. But those...
Where were you?
I was in Florida at the time, but it was always a dream in the back of my mind to live and work.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
You're giving me credit to be inspiring for the town.
Yes.
Cool.
Absolutely. And you think also of how many amazing New York songs there are.
Yeah.
And, speaking specifically of that moment, to me, I put that up there.
Sure.
As just, if I think of New York, if I had to put a song to it.
Yeah.
The Only Living Boy in New York, that's become very popular now.
Yeah. But you were raised in Queens, right?
Yep. Went to college at Columbia College, uptown.
Yeah.
One of my proud credits. It was a good school. Columbia College is having a wonderful football year. First time in 100 years. We never do anything in football, but this year we're happening.
The city when you were growing up, much different than the city now, of course. But
Not that different.
But that is New York is always kind of changing and moving, and Simon and Garfunkel very much a part of it, and then your solo career very much of a part of it. But you're a person of the world as well. I've never heard of anyone who's walked continents before the way you have.
Me neither.
Yeah. What started that? Where did that come from?
I like to take freighters. For years, I would take a ship with containers across the Atlantic or the Pacific. When I took one across the Pacific to Japan, I had never been there before, and I decided to get to see Japan on foot. When I came into the harbor at, I don't know, was it Kobe? I left the little bit of luggage I had in a hotel, and I walked the next week across Japan and found it was doable. So months later, I was in New York, and I set off across the United States from my apartment uptown in New York to the Pacific Ocean. I did it in 40 installments, going out, walking a week's worth, coming home, living my life, and picking up on my walk later that year, about 2 a year. So with 40 installments, I crossed the United States. And then I crossed Europe just between the late 90s and about 10 years later, I crossed Europe from Ireland to Istanbul.
Mm.
That's what I do. You know, if you're a New Yorker, you want to break out of the claustrophobia of
Sure.
New York.
But are people like just freaked out to bump into you in some of these strange
No,
places?
you're picturing me as a very recognizable guy. I'm not recognizable. I wear a non-persona.
Yeah.
I'm Mr. Nobody under my hat, who's thinking, and writing, and sometimes singing, and looking at all 360 degrees around me, and they don't think that I'm that singing guy.
Oh, that's amazing. You know, one of the images in the book, too, that really struck me is that you said that you and Jack Nicholson would sing together to find this harmony that you would end up using in the film. I've never heard of anybody doing that before.
When we were being driven to work to make Carnal Knowledge in Vancouver for Mike Nichols, that dear, wonderful man whom I miss terribly, Jack and I would be in the back seat of the car, singing James Taylor's Fire and Rain, just to be in harmony. I did it with Paul Simon, too.
Yeah.
And we would get our act very together, capital T, and then an hour later, 2 hours later, we'd be on the floor in front of the camera, acting as together as we could be.
That film, too, especially since you were pretty new at acting that time, that film is just such a raw nerve all the way through. It's a film that you could rewatch over and over and
That's
over. And I
Mike
have.
Nichols, that great director. He loves black comedy. He makes you laugh, and everything gets light and chuckly, and then he turns the whole thing and gets serious, and it's dark. Mike had a real gift for that.
Well, that's the other thing when you're reading this book is that you have had such an extraordinary life of just knowing some of the great characters of our time in it. But were you aware of that as it was happening, or did that just feel like, oh, this is just something that goes on?
I don't know. I mean, the people in my life, was I aware that it's a very rich life, mine? And yes, I'm aware of it. I use this simple theory: stay interesting to yourself. Every season in my life should be about something that turns me on, something that gets me scared, some piece of growth, something that's about adrenaline. So I live from year to year trying to be interesting to myself, and you fall into some wonderful challenges.
So you got the book open. Would you like to read something to us? Is there?
Oh, I'm just wondering if I fell into something. Ba-da-ba-da. Why couldn't I be a goldsmith? I could build an entire battle scene in little strips of filigree with separate strands of gold in the horses' manes and set it all on a pinky ring for Kim's adornment, and not have to sing these nuances, inviting angels onto the head of a pin. Why couldn't I be a goldsmith? I could build an entire battle scene with little strips of filigree and set it all on with separate strands of gold in the horses' manes in a whole battle scene, all on a little pinky ring. And that would be easier than having to sing these nuances that are even finer. I'm up there in the etchings on the walls of fine hotels, in that other air of Baudelaire, where ice is blue and creviced walls with frozen waterfalls and stones so steep even Louis Philippe bows his head in prayer. He lingers on his way to sleep. Brahms is not romantic yet. He longs to get away from care and stare at timeless rock up there.
Art Garfunkel, thank you so much, my friend, for
Thank you for
stepping
having
in.
me.
Yeah.
Thanks.
What Is It All But Luminous? Notes from an Underground Man is available now in stores and online. Thank you so much.
My pleasure to be here.
We'll see you next time. That was one of my favorite radio moments I've ever had.
It's incredible.
It was great.
It was just perfect.
I wish this would have been live. So Chris goes to and puts this song on, and a couple minutes, less than a minute in, Art goes, "Why the distortion?" He yells at Chris, and Chris is like, "I don't know. It must be the speakers in here." And I'm like, "Then we bring down the level." And then Chris just brought the level down, and it sounded crystal clear. Do you understand that Art has been known somewhat as a perfectionist when it comes to sound?
Yep. Yeah, I'm a bit aware.
I'm a bit aware. That was
So good.
so much fun.
Everything about that experience was perfect.
At one point, as while he was waiting for the coffee, he was just sitting outside on a...
I wish sometimes too, like I could imagine listening to it, but there was also this visual thing that our studio is glass. So at some point he would wander by, and then like a moment later, his people would go the other way, like looking like, where did he go? And then it would pass, and then Art would come by again, kind of looking around slowly.
It was great,
It
man.
was so good.
It was so great. But I don't think I liked anything more than what's with the distortion.
It was so
like we were playing this.
Stick Chris.
Yeah.
He looked right at Chris. Why the distortion?
Why the distortion? That was unbelievable. God. You just go and go and go, hoping people will do stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Oh my
Just
God.
be
Yeah,
like
you couldn't
that.
plan for something like that to be better. It was when he got up. Like at first,
Let's
the way
take a break.
when he said it, I laughed because
Yeah.
I thought he was making a joke.
Yeah.
He was like, "Ooh, coffee, that sounds good. Let's take a break." And I laughed, and then he just stood up.
Yeah.
Kind of the expression just went from his face, and then he just walked out.
Well, even before, he's like, I don't understand why I'm sitting so far away from you. And I go, we'll both be interviewing you.
Yeah.
And then he was like he's never heard of that before.
Of
like that's
Two
odd.
people
Yes.
talking.
And then, he started nice. He needed his coffee. He left. And I'm like, is he just saying it's his coffee and we'll never see him again?
I thought that was possible.
Which was, would have been also fantastic.
I thought that was very possible. We did have the hat still here, so I thought he's
Yes,
got
I
to
was
come back
keeping
for
the
that
hat, man. The hat was great. God, that was
It
amazing.
was so good.
Yeah.
It was so good.
What if I would just screamed at him, no one walks out of my studio? But again, like, you get this guy, he's mid-70s. He's been, a major star no matter what he does since 1964.
Yes,
You know what
since
I mean?
he was so young.
And his name is so famous that comedians would just throw Garfunkel into anything. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like they would do a thing and act like it was a law firm and something and Garfunkel, and it would get
Right.
a laugh. Just the name Garfunkel was so well known, and his life. He's been had an apartment overlooking Central Park since he was in his 20s.
Yeah.
I think he lives right up near either Bloomberg's apartment in that
Mhm.
area. So, I mean, it's like the Upper East of the Upper East Side.
Yes.
You're not going to be a normal cat
No.
after all that.
Definitely not. And would you want him to be? Like, would you want him to be normal? Of course not.
I try to think of the number of people that could say, let's take a break during a live interview.
And
I mean, it's,
I mean,
and that would also do it.
I mean, I don't know if it crossed you guys' mind, but I was like, he literally did Wildcat.
Yes.
He did Wildcat.
Wildcat.
I'm going to go. He just goes. Oh my God.
Let's take a break here.
I laughed when he said it. I thought he was
He
being
just got
funny.
a sudden urge for coffee that he didn't have
Yes, and I was
15 seconds before.
I was thinking we could get that for you, and you will have it within 60 seconds. You'll have your coffee.
Just the idea of coffee came into his mind. And then, all right.
No
time for
waiting
coffee.
for it.
No.
And he didn't demand. I mean, I suppose there's another type of personality. Like if somebody was of celebrity status and then just started to order people around to go get him coffee, I'm sure people would have an opinion about that.
Yeah.
But he was like, he just was going to handle it his own way.
Well, he just went out and sat in a chair there, too. I mean, it's not like he went to get the coffee.
At one point, we turned around and we could see him, and he just kind of wandered over to a chair and sat down and was looking around.
Then got up, took a walk. Send Jen in, would you, Vito?
God.
Hey, Garrett, what's up?
Benningtons, I love you guys. I got to say, Art Garfunkel's the Mike Love of the folk scene. He's the no talent.
Oh, you're out of your mind, dude.
Police. All right, so
voice.
Quick story.
That voice, no matter what you think of him personally.
I adore his voice.
Yeah, but then where do you get the no talent from?
Yeah, I mean,
that's pure talent.
But you got to remember, though, Paul wrote all the songs.
So what? How many songs did Frank Sinatra write?
Yeah, good point. But can I just tell you a quick story? My father was a usher at the hockey rink in Buffalo. And the Simon & Garfunkel reunion tour in 2004, he got to witness Paul Simon losing his shit on Art Garfunkel during sound check because
Dude,
Art kept...
we all know those stories. Art will talk about those stories. Paul talks about those stories. They had when they broke up. Let's just picture it's 1970. That album that they have, it wins all the Grammys. It's the best-selling album of all time at that time, right? Beatles, Stones, Beach Boys, Elvis, Frank Sinatra. That album sold more copies than anything in history up to that time. And Paul's like, I can't do this anymore. He wants coffee. He just walks out of the concert.
Oh my God.
So we all get that, but I don't think it's arrogance. I think it's something else. You know what I mean? Like, I do think there are certain people that are on like a certain wavelength, man, and we got to witness it. I don't know how you turn around and get angry. And by the way, while you're running down Mike Love, he also sang on some of the biggest songs of all time, and at least threw in lyrics for them. I mean, he was smart enough to be Brian's cousin. I wasn't. I was Georgiana Riggins' cousin. We didn't get any songs done.
That's good too.
But we had a ball. We did.
We didn't get any songs
but we
done.
Didn't, yeah.
We didn't get them done.
We did a Around the Campfire cover of Tommy James's I Think We're Alone Now, which our parents told us better than the original. Okay? But when two cousins are staring each other in the eyes, singing I Think We're Alone Now, now that I think about it, it's a little uncomfortable.
Kissing cousins.
What was happening in the hall during all that?
So first of all, when I brought him in, I always ask, you know, what they want to drink. He just said, I just want, some water. So I leave to go find some bottles of water for him. And then I come back and it's like, Imani's in there. Like, he just walked out. I'm like, what is happening? I was just so Imani, because I walk in, Vito's not in there. I'm like, what's happening right now? I was just getting him water. Like, he walked out because he had no coffee. I'm like, he didn't ask for coffee. So then
at that point, did you think it was an angry walk off?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Unbelievable that I don't have
yeah, that's exactly.
You thought that you were going to be called down to the office.
I'm not going to be. I'm going to be in trouble.
I wish we could have kept that up. Jen, what did you do?
I'm so
He
scared.
said he gave you his coffee order 20 minutes ago.
So then I'm running the board there, and then I see him walk by, and I'm like, oh, God, what do I do? I'm like, hey, buddy, you're going to have to run the board. You're going to have to take over. She's like, what? What do you mean?
She hasn't trained on the
At
board.
one point, it's like within 1 minute time, I see Vito there. I turn, it's Jen, and then I turn again, and it's Imani sitting by the board. And that's when I pointed to her left because I knew that they were all looking for him at the same moment.
I ran out because I went to the kitchen to get him the coffee, and then the other talent person had to go get him the sugar from a different location because there was like only Sweet and Low in one spot.
And then once he got the coffee, he was fine, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they all kept saying to me, look, we've given him coffee on every interview today. I don't know why he wants coffee so badly today.
But I don't think that you should give away what happens behind the scenes, Vito.
Oh, man.
You know what I mean? That's his people. They're probably got their own cross to bear.
So then, he asked if he could go back in once his coffee was here. And I was like,
Sure.
I'll bring you back in. And then, that's what happened.
Did he sign the books?
He signed everything, yeah.
Wow.
Oh,
that's
I'm
sweet.
surprised.
Yeah.
And I handed you the books. I was
scared.
I said, don't worry if this can't happen.
Because as he was walking out, like under his breath, I heard him saying, it's a crummy world. And I'm like, it is a crummy world. The world is crummy.
Yeah, no doubt. We all agree with that. Andrew in Jersey.
Hey, Ronnie B. Last week, Howard was interviewing Robert Plant, and excuse me, in the middle of the interview, he asked for coffee too. So is that like the new thing for rock stars?
No, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've had people ask for coffee before, but normally they don't think that everything has to stop until they get it. That's the only difference.
Asking for coffee, not strange. Throwing it to break without our consent, a little strange. Let's take a break.
But I'm going to repeat this. I thought it was fantastic.
It was.
I mean, it was.
It was like one of the more unique moments of my entire life.
I loved it.
My face. I couldn't believe it.
Shane, what's up?
Hey, Ronnie B, how you doing?
Good.
Hey, I'm in oil and gas. I'm not in hospitality, but when you have people like that come in, it's not even if it's just Art Garfunkel. It could be anybody. Why don't your producers lay a little spread out so they're taken care of? They got stuff right there.
Look,
He has an opportunity to want anything he wants. We would have went out and got him a sandwich if he wanted.
Yeah,
He
again.
was asked if he would like some coffee. Vito even said, he's done some stuff around here. He's had coffee. It's great. What he did was fantastic. What he did is what all of us should be doing in life. Hey, I don't have what I want right now. I'm stopping the world. I'm stopping the world.
He was like, you know what? This moment isn't right without coffee. Let's just stop this moment. And then maybe we can pick this up
And I
at a
didn't-
time of my choosing.
And then after he came back, by the way, I also loved him reading. I thought
It
that
was
was just
so great.
fantastic. At another point, he put the book down and was just acting it out for us. It was amazing. But Chris always gives me how much time we have. This time he didn't. And we always have I look at Chris, I give him I give him the eyes, he gives me the time. I give him the eyes, he gives me the eyes back. And I'm like, everything is nuts here. We are not ourselves.
See, the thing was, I was doing math in my head to negate the time he wasn't here to give you the amount of
well,
time. he was
no,
on
that
the
I
air.
mean, that's still the time. I mean, I would imagine he's still on his schedule.
Yes, it's not his people's fault. But I only wish the distorted sound was on the air.
Oh, good.
I know. I kind of wish that was that moment was very, very funny.
And before the show, Chris had told us how he was going to kill this engineer for not writing the levels properly.
Yeah.
And he's playing this for a man who's, a record producer as well, and he has an ear that we don't. You know what I mean? And even I could hear that Chris was just fucking frying the speakers. And it's almost like if Chris would have just taken one of his albums and then Chris would have taken his penis out and started rubbing it.
Chris,
And when I say
why would
album,
you do that?
I mean on a family album.
Oh my God, Chris!
I would never do that to him.
Garrison in Wisconsin. Garrison.
buddies.
Hey.
Hey, I think Chris should establish himself, and every time he wants a cigarette, he should just say, "Ron, we need to go to break. I need a cigarette."
It's not that different, if I'm going to be totally honest. James in Georgia.
Obviously, the previous caller didn't know the producers. Have a spread for him? Come on.
Well, it's not like he asked for a lot.
No.
He just wanted his coffee, and he wasn't going to do anything until he got it.
You know, it's
I
one
thought
of
he
those
was feeling
moments
uneasy.
that's going to be.
Yeah, I thought that too when he said, well, first I thought it was a joke, and then when he actually got up and left the room, I was like, oh, he doesn't feel good in this moment, and he's just saying it's a coffee issue. Because you wouldn't, if you wanted coffee, you would just turn to one of our staff and say, would you mind if I get coffee? Someone had just asked
This
him.
is going to be the greatest moment
That would
in radio history.
That would be
This is going to be
unfortunate if that were
replayed over and over.
That would be unfortunate.
I love you, Ronnie. I love you, Gail.
Love you.
Thanks. Bye. Yeah, and then when he came back, he really liked Gail.
He
You know what I
did,
mean?
yeah.
Yeah.
Remember, he touched.
He
just
said, "Our
touched-
Gail," or something?
He said, "Now Gail," and then he grabbed my arm and rubbed my arm and went, "Our Gail." I'm like, What's that now?
Dear sweet Gail,
Who
perhaps
I've loved for years.
perhaps I will write another.
I cherish her.
I hate to call these poems, but seems like the masters would accept.
God damn it, they are.
Gail with her ginger snapped eyes. Small bunions coming from her toes.
Art, I don't feel like this is a very complimentary poem. I mean, everything else you write is so beautiful.
Ah, Gail, she smells of garlic and Old Spice.
Ah, Gail.
Oh, Lars, God, Gail. And then when we did the picture, he only hugged you in that.
Yeah.
That was very funny.
And then he looked at me and said, "You're a smiler." I said, "Well, I do smile. This is true. I'm posing for a picture, so." Wait, let me see that picture. I have to see it.
Eric in New Jersey.
Oh, my God.
Hey, Ron, I just want to say you took Clint Eastwood to a new level with the empty chair speech.
I really...
Oh, my God. You can see my faces that I'm like, you can see something in my smile going, this is a strange experience from top to bottom.
And I just creep in behind him.
I know, because he puts his arm around just me. I've never seen a person do that.
Yeah. Normally you do both.
It's both. Yeah.
Oh, Gail.
Oh, Gail. Ugh.
Oh, my God. It's so good. Oh.
Art's book, What Is It? All But Luminous. Notes from an Underground Mail. Available now in stores and online. I think it's time for pea soup, isn't it? Pea soup and English biscuits, which I guess you would refer to as a cracker or cookie-like here in the States. How about when he just said this? I love to take tankers places.
What?
Tankers?
That doesn't sound fun.
I mean, even if you don't like to fly, get yourself on a nice cruise ship. A tanker? People who work on tankers don't want to be on tankers.
Is he staying in steerage on a tanker?
Where else are you going to stay?
Yeah, it's only steerage and cargo.
One of a kind. Speaking of which, hey, Janice. Janice, how are you, darling?
Oh, that is radio gold. I just. Oh. And I gotta say, Ronnie, I was married to an Italian, and I never knew that what meant without papers.
Yes, without papers. Yeah. So it's not really that, it's not kind of racist, but it's just saying you people don't even belong here.
Yeah, you
know?
showed up without your paperwork.
Yeah. You're the original Mexicans, is what they were saying.
Yes.
And yet, these are the people who voted for Trump in the wall, right? Staten Island.
Yep.
They were the ones who got here without papers, and now we're like, this is for real Americans.
Yeah,
you know?
we're their
real
papers.
Americans like us. This is going to be for the capos, you know? The capos. Trump is going to be here for everybody, right? The foot soldiers, the dons, his consigliere, you know? Everybody's got to be taken care of. We're all going to wet our beaks on this one. The bookmaker, the whoremaster, all taken care of, right? All good Americans. All right, baby. We'll talk to you later.
Bye, Janice.
I love you guys. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Rick, South Carolina.
Hey, Bennington, how's it going?
Good, man.
Good. Hey, listening to Garfunkel walking out looking for coffee reminded me of Agent Cooper from Twin Peaks when he's in that trance and he's going after pie and coffee and everything.
Dude, I'm telling you, Brad Steiner, Bread Stinks, sent me the same thing, and I looked out and I almost started dying when I saw that. Who knew our Garfunkel is Agent Dale Cooper? Oh, my God.
I only wish the distortion line was on the air. Now, Chris has a way of dealing, too, with people. He just ignores like it's not happening.
Yeah, I had to respond, and I had to say there's something going on with the speaker.
Yeah.
And then I said to Chris, then you just turn it down some.
Yeah, I've never cranked anything up that high before on this board.
But you heard it, right?
I thought it was the YouTube file. That was the YouTube link I was using. I thought that was a bad file as opposed to the fucking board cranked all the way up.
You know, you don't have to go to YouTube. It exists in the world.
Yeah.
Don't we have access to? Do we have access to?
Yes,
all that
of course
stuff?
we do. We have access to every song that's ever been recorded. Every song has ever been recorded.
Every single
Yet he
one.
constantly goes to YouTube and he's like, got an ad on it. Ads on it.
Sounds like me.
It is uncanny.
Somewhere, Paul Simon and his wife were on a lake out in a rowboat. Just going like, go for it, Artie! What's with the papers, Chris?
Live read.
So annoying. You remember. Just tell me how you felt when the artist was freaked that you were distorting his music.
Terrible.
Did you feel bad or
not
angry?
Nope. Felt terrible and bad.
Hungover, you mean?
I'm not hungover. I
Still
feel
drunk?
No, I'm sober, oddly enough.
Sober producers don't do that. It just doesn't happen. Not in this business. Particularly as long as you've been here.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, but sadly, yeah, sober.
You feel the same way last night when you fucked up the opening?
That was on the engineer. It wasn't on me. I tested it with him multiple times.
Why you would be the person who did it?
Because I figured the engineer would be the one able to play on a file.
Well, Ring's mission is to make neighborhoods safer. Today, over 1 million people use the amazing Ring video doorbell to help protect their homes. Ring knows home security begins at the front door, but it doesn't end there.
So now they're extending that same level of security to the rest of your home with the Ring Floodlight Cam. Just like Ring's amazing doorbell, Floodlight Cam is a motion-activated camera and floodlight that connects right to your phone with HD video and two-way audio that lets you know the moment anyone steps on your property.
See and speak to visitors, even set off an alarm right from your phone with Ring's Floodlight Cam. When things go bump in the night, you'll immediately know what it is. Whether you're home or away, the Ring Floodlight Cam lets you keep an eye on your home from anywhere.
Ring Floodlight offers the ultimate in home security with high visibility floodlights and a powerful HD camera that puts security in your hands. With Ring, you're always home. Save up to $150 off a Ring of Security kit when you go to ring.com/comedy. That's ring.com/comedy. That's ring.com/comedy.
It's the Bennington Show. Bam, 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 bam. What do we got coming up, Chris?
We have K. Trevor Wilson and Andy Fiore coming up in just a little bit.
It's two people, so you put an end in there.
And also, we have Elijah Schlesinger Unmasked happening Tuesday, November 7th at 4:30 p.m. at the Sirius XM studios in New York City.
It's coming way up. I meant in this program.
Okay. Well, you can get tickets to that with the ibang.com.
Vito, when is your mom prepared to do this now, or does she need to watch The Godfather? Because I have a feeling that Chris has been watching The Godfather nonstop.
My mom can do it whenever you want Leslie to come in, whenever you want her to do whatever. My mom's ready.
That sounds
very.
I mean, like as far as Godfather goes, nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing promiscuous.
Oh, good. Glad to hear that. Glad to hear that, Vito.
I mean, I could talk her about a promiscuous thing, but
No, Vito, just stop.
That's your mom.
Yeah, we're just talking Godfather trivia, which I will win.
Thank you, Chris.
Leslie does not have a chance. She's a nice lady, but she is not going to win Godfather trivia.
You just got a promo on her.
She's a nice lady.
But she's not going to win.
She don't know shit about the Godfather.
Here's a piece that I love up on the iBang. A Bills fan catches on fire. And you don't want to catch on fire around a lot of drunks.
No, and the means in which he does it. First of all, he's much too old to be behaving this way. This is not like a kid who's young enough to be making a dumb mistake of trying to impress.
Oh no,
a crowd.
yeah. Well, Eastside Dave isn't young anymore, and he definitely would have done this
Right.
this stunt. Having trouble finding that. That's up on the iBang. But I think this is even more important. At 52 years old, Elizabeth Hurley in a red bikini.
Yes. Looking quite good.
Quite good. I had Elizabeth Hurley on the show once. And when you talk with her, she just locks in on your eyes. And I actually thought to myself, are me and Elizabeth Hurley going to get married? Because she
We're in
apparently
love.
loves me very much. Because she has that kind of electricity.
That
You know
is
what I
like, and it can be, yeah, because it's not just attractive people, but you also have to be a bit magnetic in your personality.
And how does
too.
one go about being magnetic? I don't understand. How does she do that? Well, models have a thing of knowing how to play, you know what I mean, like to capture a moment.
Yes, yeah. That they're very like aware of themselves physically.
Yes.
Like I feel like I don't live in a world where I'm just like hyper aware of my physical.
No ideas. I've seen me in interviews and I'll go, why was I laying down? And I've had my, I've had all kind. I'll take a shoe off sometimes in the middle of talking to somebody. But she, stunning and 52 years young. Now, a lot of people will say, I hope I look like that when I'm 52. You're never going to look like that at any point in your life.
No.
19, 22, 27, none of those.
If you don't look like it now, why
Yes.
would you assume that you'll age into this look? If she is more fit and more physically attractive than you now, you'll never be this at 52.
There's another thing I hate about the internet. Well, no, right. I want to be Elizabeth Hurley when I grow up. Shut up. Stop it.
She's
I'd
my
rather you
spirit animal.
She's my spirit animal. I loves me some Elizabeth Hurley.
Gots to have my Elizabeth Hurley.
Just fucking stupid. Just stop with your internet.
Oh my God, Elizabeth Hurley. What are these onion cutting ninjas? All right, I shoehorned that one in, but still,
You know what,
it's
it
still
worked,
very
'cause I
annoying.
Everything is illuminous. He was very impressed that you nailed that thing.
Yeah, he was. He was impressed.
Chris's hero, Terry Richardson, this is up on the iBang, has been banned from working with fashion magazines. Now, to me, if all the magazines come together like that, it seems like he has a lawsuit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You can't all act like we have decided as a group.
Yeah.
You know, just separately say, I don't want him working here anymore. But I don't know how he got in fashion magazines because it's not very fashion friendly what he shoots. He shoots the raw, the gritty,
Yeah, he
the
does.
dirty,
though. But that
smutty.
but that became like a look,
When,
like
in the
that-
early 90s, is that when that dirty,
I
junky...
feel like even maybe, yeah, it did become popular then, but I feel like his style, particularly like early aughts, became really, really.
Yeah.
What was he first popular for?
He collaborated heavily with Vice magazine, back when it was just a magazine. And then he put his work in constantly.
Yeah.
Okay.
When I was younger, this was like when I was in college, maybe. I saw him on the street and he was walking towards me and I was walking towards him. And I felt like I've never had someone look at me and I felt naked. And I don't think he was like checking me out. Cause like I don't think he's like, I think he looks at everyone like that. Like he looked as though he was piercing to find your genitals as he passed you. It was very strange.
He's a genital whisperer.
It was very strange. And I thought, why do I suddenly feel naked just because I have passed him on the street?
You're lucky
and he
that
looked at me.
You didn't somehow end up naked with him there. But all the famous people are coming down one at a time. These aren't surprising names, that we're going, him and Harvey and Bill O'Reilly. Bill O'Reilly has now said he's mad at God for allowing this to happen.
Really?
For allowing his enemies to smite him. And he said, remember the guy from Fox that after he got fired for sending dick pics, he goes, you people in the media, you're responsible for his son killing himself because of the stories that you wrote. And the guy tweeted out or something, just leave my fucking son out of this, dude. Just do me the fucking favor of not, And seriously, your dad did something, so you kill yourself? Yeah, that's an excuse.
No.
Something else must have been going on there.
Everybody has a fucked up family.
Man, nobody more than you. I mean, if you're going to kill yourself because what your dad did, Chris Stanley had a right to fucking hang himself early on. I'm always surprised when I watch those shows where they trace your background.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always surprised at the pride and shame people have in their families. Pride and shame.
Yeah.
Ted Danson's fifth-time great-grandfather owned a slave. And then he let the slave buy his freedom, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was very rare for that to happen. And by his wife and his children. And Ted Danson was still like, I can't. There's nowhere I can put this. I'm sickened by it. And the dude's saying, yeah, but, at least they could pay him to be free. And Ted Danson was like, I don't know. I don't feel about any of it. And I'm like, I'm as connected to that man as you are, Ted.
Of course,
Neither one of us. I mean, we have to take the responsibility as humans and Americans that this happened in our past. But I don't think that we have to ride the shame because somewhere up the family tree.
Yeah. Maeve Higgins, who's a comedian who has a podcast, she interviewed Neil deGrasse Tyson, and she was talking about she gets into immigration and your lineage and where you come from and all that stuff. And Neil deGrasse Tyson was like, it does not interest me because I feel as connected to all people. We all have a common ancestor. It just depends on how far back.
What's that ancestor? Remember the one that they have at the museum? That woman's name?
That is Lucy.
Lucy. Yeah.
It's
we all come from
that's my grandma.
Half ape.
But that he was like, I don't feel so tied to go. Oh, my great grandfather is any more important to me than someone else. Yeah. And he doesn't feel defined by them.
My father has traced his side of the family back pretty far in America. And for the life of me, I could never get interested. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It didn't seem like any of them did anything that thrilling. My dad was like, you could join the Sons of the Revolution. You have every right to join that. And I'm like, why would I?
What about Kill Calvary?
Yeah.
Do you feel proud of
Well,
that?
that's on my mother's side.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's on my mother's side. And Less Than Proven. My mother wants no part of that.
No, she, one time when I was over there, he was showing me some of his findings, and she's just like, leave those dead people alone. It's what she said. They want rest. They want peace. They don't want you looking up and digging up all their old stories. She was very upset that he was going through all these paperwork and birth certificates and finding out who was with who. And She was like, leave them alone. They're dead. They want peace. You're disturbing them.
My dad was feeling a little down the other day, and I just said to him, "Oh, what year was Jesse Owens in the Olympics? What year was that? 36." You know what I mean? He just perked right up, and we went through a long history of Jesse Owens.
That's good.
Right up until he was showing my dad how to use a stopwatch, I believe, at the Penn relays in the 1960s. And I thought that was like... Now, my dad just couldn't believe that Jesse Owens was at this track meet with high school kids. My brother was running in it. But I'm like, where else are you going to go? I mean, you're going to be interested in track. You know what I mean? You don't stop being interested in track just because your career's over.
Track sucks now. I'm not good at it anymore.
I'm sure, like, you could go to a high school football game and run into all kinds of ex-pros all the time. Last night, Gruden took a moment to show that he had visited some high schools and was doing stuff with them. And he goes, the sport's taking a lot of hit, but kids play football, play high school football. Just go out there. And I'm like, I just read that day that somebody was suing the school district because the kid played football and there was brain injuries. And I'm like, I don't see high school football lasting much longer. I think it'll be you'll still play football, but it'll be for some outside group.
I can't really imagine if I was a parent and my child was interested in playing high school football. I feel like I would be so terrified, so scared.
If I was really poor, I'd say, yeah, go for it. Save the whole family. But if you got any money at all, you're like, why don't you go play another sport? What about the debate team? That's fun.
Try exercising your mind instead.
Try to go out and do a pro coal thing and see if you can turn the room around. Coal. It's rocking good heat. Coal. Ever sat around a heater and felt warm? Well, thank coal. That's the kind of shit that you think that you're being great when you're a kid and you write something like this.
I had to do a debate once when I was a kid, and I remember I had to take the stance on you should be allowed to choose if you wear a helmet to ride your bike, and the other person had to do it should be the law that you wear a helmet. So I had to argue the point.
You must have got trounced, huh?
Yeah. I mean, people really favored him to begin with. But I think I did a hell of a good job. And I think I got a better grade on it than he did because I had to work really hard to try to convince children not to wear helmets, something that they have been told their whole life.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, it ain't cool if you put your helmet on. Would you try to look like a dork? That was most of the points I made.
Anytime I see a kid with a helmet, I try to give him a little bump just to see if the helmet works or not. Just knock them off their bike. Oh, the way I despise people who ride bicycles. I'm the exact opposite of this progressive movement of healthful bicycles. Anytime I'm getting out of a cab now, someone's going, hey! Like I
have to
get out of a fucking cab, and I don't have a rear view mirror in the back seat. I don't.
Yeah.
And the cab is pulled over. Yell at him. I don't give a fuck what happens to you. You run every red light in town.
They do.
So
They're really
you're
bad.
not really a part of this.
And I have been hit by a bike before. It fucking hurts really bad.
Yeah.
It sucks to be hit by a bike.
Of course it hurts to be hit by a bike. Why wouldn't it?
And he argued that it was my fault. And I was just like so furious that he was acting like it was my fault.
If he was an actual vehicle, it's never your fault.
100%.
You can fucking jaywalk and it's the truck driver's fault. We know this. But bicycles thinks that everybody else is a dick.
Now, here's the circumstance. And you guys, debate team, you tell me what you think.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, did I cross on the blinking red hand? I did. But I was on a one-way street looking down the street going, no cars are coming. I'm going to go. And I get hit by a bike going the wrong way down a one-way. Everything's over. It doesn't matter when I cross, when I didn't cross.
Right.
Because even if I was crossing, he still would have to brake and avoid me because he is in a vehicle. But it doesn't really matter because he's going the fucking wrong way down a one-way.
And he was trying to argue that he was in the right?
He was just like, you crossed when with the blinking hand. I go, I don't give a fuck.
You.
You are going down the wrong way. Down a one-way street. You cannot do that.
I found bikes on a one-way street. Doo, doo, doo. Now, you're speaking to the choir, my friend. I'm on your side, 67%.
I got clipped by a bike the other day over
You're supposed to vote
You're,
first.
you're supposed to
I
vote.
vote. I'm on
Don't
your
try
side.
to top every fucking
I'm not trying
story.
to top. It's just a different scenario, but I vote, of course, and you're in your favor. Go.
I know. So go ahead, do your butt.
All right. All right. So
What's so distorted here? Why is that distorted?
Everything sounds distorted.
Let me bring this down. So I'm crossing 47th Street. I'm on 6th Avenue. I stop because I see a motorcade going by, going towards Fox News. I'm stopped in the middle of the street. It's a red light. And a fucking biker clips me and says, "What the fuck are you doing?" They're running the red light. But I was just looking at this motorcade to see what the hell's going on. I was just curious about this motorcade. Yet the biker is acting like, who runs a red light and clips me, that I'm the asshole. Because I stopped in the middle of the street.
I'm on the side of the biker.
What? It was they ran a red light.
Oh.
I feel like
I still have
I'm on the side of the biker because it just sounded too distorted for me.
I couldn't understand anything. So I'm like, I am just a poor boy.
Oh.
My story is often told. Someone wrote, that dude's pretentious. Yeah, since 1964, man. We know this about him.
Yeah, well aware.
It's like saying, you know, that Lou Alcindor is quite the tall one. How's the weather up there, Lou? Call him by his Muslim name or call him nothing. I love the name Lou Alcindor, though.
It's a cool name.
When he used to play college, and he would have his like little baby hook, his little sky hook, the announcer would always go, "Lou Alcindor!" And I'm like, why would you ever want to get... what God would make you get rid of a cool thing like that?
Awesome.
Lou Alcindor! Who's your favorite center of all time, Chris?
Oh, it's Cream.
Really?
Yeah.
Over Chocolate Thunder?
Yes, over Chocolate Thunder.
That's crazy talk. Who's yours, Vito? Bill Walton?
No, mine's a really weird one. Do you remember Brian Scalabrine?
Yeah.
I fucking fell in love with Brian Scalabrine when he was on that
Sexually?
Celtics championship team, sexually and just as a fan. So my favorite center is Brian Scalabrine.
Chris had the big, weird Bill Walton thing, and he still got rid of him.
I love Bill Walton as my favorite Dead fan.
No, that doesn't make sense. We're never ranking Dead fans.
Talking centers. It was a really easy task.
Wow.
This guy's a fucking prick. And when you bring your mother in here to get her ass beat by...
Don't say you're going to beat my mom's
into
ass.
this. That's wrong, Chris. To bring someone's mom
Nah,
into
that
an
was
argument.
really funny.
He's the one who brought her into this.
No, he
so it's
didn't.
fair game.
No, he didn't. He was talking basketball.
Yeah, and it had nothing to do with that. Why'd you say you were going to beat his mother's ass?
You're going to beat a woman in the street. That's what you're going to do.
Why do you guys always say beat down in the street? It's really annoying. Everything comes down to being beat down in the
She's
street.
going to get a beat down in Godfather Trivia is
You're
what's
not
going to
going to
happen.
beat my mom down in the street.
There's no chance he wins.
Hey, Earl, you're on Bennington.
Yeah, the cyclists must obey the same rules as a car. So if they're hitting you, they're wrong. They should have got a ticket.
Kevin.
And did Garfunkel have moist milk in his coffee?
Kevin, you're a police officer?
I'm a retired military police officer.
I want you to understand something. There's not a single cop who tickets these bike drivers. There's not a single cop who arrests them. They run ramshot all over this town.
They do.
And people think it's good for the environment.
That's why I don't live in New York anymore.
New York, where the bikes stay.
What is this distorted? Why is this distorted?
I don't sound
Could you turn down the distortion a little bit?
He got you, Chris.
Fucking Chris, you want your new nickname to be Social Distortion?
That's a pretty cool nickname.
Yeah. Antisocial distortion would be better. Here's the two things that I cannot stand. People on bicycles and these people in wheelchairs. These lazy people in wheelchairs.
They're slow, Ron. They're slow in Milton Street.
Don't make fun of their mental capacities, Chris.
Oh my God! Do you have a comb?
Yeah, I got a comb.
I never saw you comb your hair as
Yeah,
long as I knew you.
Because this hair is so long, it's getting like longer, so I gotta keep this shit
Here's
together.
what's great about you combing your hair.
Yeah.
The second you comb it, it flops right back. You know what I mean? Your hair is strong and powerful.
I've never heard someone have like less ownership over their hair. He didn't say my hair. He says this hair. It goes everywhere.
He doesn't feel like it's his.
It's not necessarily his. It's not going back.
you
There's
understand-
nothing you can do is putting.
This is fucked up.
Because you understand that a comb, normally it holds there.
I know.
It does you no good to comb.
Run it through it one more time and show them what happens when you go.
Yeah. Yes, it's nothing. Did you find that comb on the street? No. You never bought a
I
comb.
found it in the booth.
I've known you.
Ew, that's what I use to check lights. The whole step I go through.
Oh,
when
lights.
I check.
Checks. Oh, God.
You need brush for that mane, you know?
Wow, man.
Oh
I
my
did not
God!
expect
And that was a centaur
Me and-
comment.
Me and Gail
His
love
least
Chris.
favorite.
I know. And this guy's talking all this shit.
Yeah, he's acting like you're a centaur.
I know. Well, guess what? Leslie's going to get some centaur
Hey!
beat down. Why?
Centaur dick? Is that what
Yeah,
you said?
centaur juice.
Chris, don't talk about Leslie like that.
Look, this thing is going to be done respectfully, Chris.
We'll see what happens.
Oh, wow. Okay. I did not think, seriously, I'm not prepared to handle that comeback. That was amazing.
We'll see.
We'll see.
The great thing
His
about
hair.
Chris is he wants your attention, and then the second he gets it, he tries to tap out as quick as he possibly can.
I'll be surprised if Leslie gets one question right during Godfather.
That's stupid. I'm named after the movie, and it was her wedding song. That's just a stupid
Your name is
statement.
Godfather?
Godfather Khalid.
It's my legal name. Vito's just a nickname.
I hope your first sandwich will be a meatball sandwich.
That's just very disturbing.
We should have meatball sandwiches today. You just smelt your comb, dude.
Ew!
Just what I was telling.
Ew!
It's because I
No.
haven't washed my hair in a while. But you're not supposed to. You know, it's supposed to,
You're not supposed to smell your comb. That's antisocial
I've
distortion.
never seen someone do that before. Ew!
You know that he smells
That's
his toilet
so
paper.
gross. Like, I want to run out of here. I want to run out of here like I'm getting coffee.
Getting coffee. Coffee and Garfunkel.
The Funkinator.
The Funk Master. New York. It's like you were trying to drive him nuts.
I don't want to drive Mr. Garfunkel crazy.
Mr. Garfunkel.
And even like, I'm just like, bring the volume down, Chris. Fucking write it. And even when he got it fixed, he just ran out.
Yeah.
That
Oh my
fucking man
God.
hates you.
Oh, yeah, Garfunkel.
And like the way he's going to remember it is like you fucking distorted his song, so it drove him out of the room.
He's going to be walking across the continent just thinking about that.
I know he's getting rides. I don't give a shit what he says. New York. I'm glad that you loved that thing too, and then he brought up the exact
I know.
thing of
The shot and everything.
That's back when they would do a concert and put 1 million people in Central Park, and now they do it and they'll go, there's 80,000 tickets available, and they'll make you get a ticket.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking hate that. Hate the shit out of that. I'm gonna kill somebody.
Jesus.
Tell that fucking mayor.
Man, he invented homelessness too. From what I can tell from the post.
Was that what they said?
Yeah, they
There's no-
just act like there's so many more homeless than we've ever had.
I told you about the homeless guy I was talking to in front of the stand, right? Me and Ari.
Mm-hmm.
Did I say that on the air?
No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
All right, so we're out there, and he comes over, and he asks for some money, and Ari said no. So I do when I'm with someone and they say no, I always go into my pocket to make them feel like I'm a better person. I never give homeless people money unless someone I know turned them down, and then I'll spend a moment with them, like, "Hey, brother, is everything okay? You warm enough?" You know what I mean? Like, it's so
got a bed tonight.
Yeah, it's something like that I started just in front of Fez, but I've now taken it to any time that, you know what I mean? I make them feel like the pieces of fucking garbage that they should. But if I'm not with them, I go, get away from me. So the fucking homeless guy's like, I was just listening to Joe Cosby. And I'm like, yeah, Brooklyn's own Joe Cosby on CBS FM, right? I'm just having a moment with him, right? He's going, yeah, man, I love the oldies. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, Joe Cosby. He goes, I can't say anything in front of the other radio stations because they'll beat you down. So we went from, we're just talking about a late night oldies guy from Brooklyn, and we're having a real moment. You know what I mean? We're all connected. Yeah. And then he acts like the other radio stations will kill you if they find you saying that you like someone. Like, he actually thinks we got to keep the Joe Cosby shit before us. You know, before Scott Shannon sends a hit team over there to shoot us in the street.
We'll beat you down.
And I was like, we had a constant, moment. We connected, and then back to that. But there's a guy also down there at the stand. He stands in front of the 7-Eleven, and it's like it's his job. And I always have a moment with him, too. And it always kind of starts strong. We're talking about, like, the Yankees playing. And then you just see him like, this is going on too long, man. A lot of pressure on me for a buck. Vito, who you picking now? Astros or Dodgers?
I'm going to go Dodgers just because the pitching is so incredible and they've had an amazing season.
Chris?
Give me the Stros.
Just based on that.
Yeah, because I don't like them.
Here's what I love, and this is the first time in the history of the World Series that two National League teams are playing each other. Because I refuse to believe that the Astros are an American League team. They're not. No, you're choking on water?
I almost choked on water, yeah.
Yeah, but that's just a second. You can't really choke on water.
Okay, it scared me, though, because he turned like this and he grabbed his throat. And his eyes, like, bulged out, like that look when someone looks like they can't get air.
Yeah, but you can't get air when you choke on water, but just for that second. Then, like, the water
panic
goes down.
I like how I always go to you. Help him. You do something.
Dude, I ain't doing anything. I'll put a fucking song on and let him die on New York.
Apropos.
Dude, that had to be a highlight for you as a fucking radio producer.
It was fucking horrifying.
You can't run a fucking volume level.
It was fucking terrible. I feel really bad.
Why were you allowing it to happen?
Because because for whatever reason, I don't realize why I fucking cranked that thing because there was no reason to. So I thought it was the goddamn YouTube file.
And I even tried to get Chris a compliment by going, oh, great. You know what I mean? Like you put on that thing after we talked about it.
No.
Nope.
No, he
just
did not see. It was an offense to his senses.
Anger, disgust.
And I had to assure him it didn't sound like that on the air, just in the room. Because, what was that?
Scratched my head.
With a pen?
It wasn't clicked. It's fine.
Okay.
It's okay.
I just heard this large scratching noise. You're not like a regular. How about we run some shampoo through that scalp thing?
No, not yet.
You're smelling, you're scratching.
God. It's like we brought in a homeless kitten.
Do we have our guest here, Chris, or can we get into this 15 most influential website of all time?
Bino?
The guest just got here a minute ago.
So we don't have time, right? We got to take a break?
Yeah, we should break.
Tell everybody who we got coming in.
We have K. Trevor Wilson and Andy Fiore coming in studio. K. Trevor and Andy will be part of the Comedy Records Showcase at Caroline's tomorrow, October 25th at 7:30 p.m. Go to carolines.com for tickets and additional information.
Bring them into Caroline Laughs. Are we breaking or
We should break. We should do a live read and break.
What are we doing a live read about? Dish?
Dish.
I love Dish.
Don't you wish you could watch your favorite primetime TV shows without commercial interruptions, Dish has got you covered. Now with AutoHop from Dish, you can watch shows recorded with primetime anytime, commercial free.
Watch the most popular shows on your favorite networks without wasting time sitting through commercials. The season finale of your favorite show just got better with AutoHop from Dish. No more waiting through long TV commercial breaks. Just get back to enjoying the action because only Dish is tuned into you.
To learn more, call 1-844-CALL-DISH, go to dish.com, or visit a local retailer near you. Requires credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and e-auto pay. Taxes and surcharges not included. Other restrictions apply. For full details, 1-844-CALL-DISH. Dish, tuned into you.
Welcome back to Bennington. Kate, Trevor Wilson, and Andy Fiore are in studio.
How's it going?
Kate, Trevor, and Andy will be part of the Comedy Records Showcase at Caroline's tomorrow, October 25th at 7:30 p.m. Go to carolines.com for tickets. And Kate Trevor's new album, Sorry, a Canadian album, comes out Friday, November 10th.
That's great.
And Andy's album, Plan B, is available now on iTunes.
That is a hilarious title.
Oh, thank you.
What is it with the sorry things and excuse me with the Canadians in there?
You know what? I think the niceness has to do with the fact that half the year it's freezing cold and we're stuck inside together.
Yeah.
So you got nowhere to go. So you have to be polite to everyone because you're going to be in close spaces. I think that's also why Canadians are very sarcastic, so they can be biting while being polite at the same
being
time.
nice about it. But this is the thing, as far as the Canadians' politeness, the people who bring it up are Canadians, though. They're like, we're polite. And Mar's like, that's for other people to say. Not for you to tell me. Like being attractive. You can't say, hey, I'm an attractive person. Someone else has to say that to you.
Well, there's the saying that a Canadian standoff is two people standing at a door telling the other one to go through first.
Please, go. Go. That is always the most awkward thing when you get to that door and who goes through. There's no social rule. Remember we talked about that on the air and we tried to come up with how do you know whether should it be the person entering a room or exiting the room?
Yeah.
Who gets to go first?
I think you always you favor the exiter. Let them out.
Like with an elevator.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. It's a subway train.
Subway rules.
Yeah.
Subway rules.
You let the people getting off first, then you get on. Same should go
Every
for
time the
building.
train stops, there's always that moment of someone goes, dude, you know what I mean? We're trying to get off here.
Yeah.
While you're coming in, there's someone who doesn't know.
Yes.
Oh,
A
yeah.
small
Not to come in.
Chinese woman.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Now, Comedy Records you guys are both part of that.
Label mates.
Yeah. So
That's the label.
They're putting the whole thing together.
Yeah, we got me, Kay Trevor, and Julie Rossi, and
Sweet.
Sterling
Sweet.
Scott. Yes. 2 Canadians, 2 Americans.
2 Canadians, 2 Americans. Hopefully, nothing but peace that night.
Nothing but love.
Peace.
And then the hosts are transplanted Canadians
Oh, yeah,
who
that's
live
true.
in New York.
They do outnumber us, actually.
What is is it a Toronto? Is it a Toronto connection? Because it seems like a lot of comedians have come out of Toronto over the years, and comic actors.
Well, everyone ends up going there. Like, Toronto's the biggest city in Canada. So if you're pursuing a career in entertainment, you're going to either Vancouver or Toronto to establish yourself. And then the next logical move is to, come here or LA.
It's always interesting to me, too, the people who go, all right, I've gotten big enough, I'm going to leave. But then there's certain entertainers that stay Canadian, and then Canada loves them the best.
Yeah. Jeremy Hotz.
Yeah.
He's one of my all-time favorites.
Jeremy left. He lives in L.A.
All right. Well, never mind.
Canada kind of has a defeatist attitude, like sometimes. Like, in Canada, you find yourself as you're progressing, there's this attitude like, well, if you're so good, how come you're not in Los Angeles or New York right now? Like, if you're so good, why haven't you left? And it's just like there's this weird argument. It's like because I like it here?
Yes,
because all my family's here and I enjoy free health care?
Are you happy with the health care? Because a lot of people tell us, Canada's not happy with their health care. And then I hear from Canadians that they love it. They love the health care.
Oh, I love free health care.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Because I'm always hearing, if they need an operation, they'll leave or something. And I go, I don't know. I think you're just
I think it's not a perfect system.
Yeah.
And sure, there are flaws and weights sometimes, but it beats the hell out of not getting health care.
Right. Yes.
Like we may not be on the same level as, Denmark or France, who has like probably the best health care in the world. Like everything is handled. I think Denmark pays for everyone's university.
I think so.
Yeah, man, that's going to be unbelievable.
But it's a great system, and the fact that I can go to a hospital, just show them my card, and get seen for whatever ails me.
Well, when I was younger, it was pretty cheap to go to college. Like, people would kind of decide whether or not to go to college. And then people would go like this, I think I'm going to go to college. I'll drive up to Penn State and just enroll. Like, there wasn't you could just show up there and they could go, well, you can't take a full bump, you can take a couple classes. But no one was like, it's a big deal.
When did that switch?
I don't know.
Because when I was little, it was already a thing where it's like, if you don't go to college, you're a failure. You must go to college. Don't do bad in school now because you'll never get into a good college. I mean, that was already in place by the time I was like elementary school.
And when I went to school, they were saying, you're not going to go to college, are you? Why don't you learn a trade? A guy like you, go to the factory. Seem like you're pretty good at moving barrels around. Something like that. Pays good money. And then the sad thing is all those jobs are gone. That's another problem.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people going to college that never would have been interested in college.
And they also, I think, teachers villainized those kind of jobs for us when we were young.
Yeah, because those guys used to beat them up.
So they were always
100%.
like, you don't want to be a plumber.
Yeah.
Now you're like, well, why not? That
Never
sounds
listen
good.
to a guidance counselor.
Yeah.
They weren't smart enough to avoid being a guidance counselor. What do they know? Do your own research.
Let me guide you and counsel you. Talk about fucking redundant. Are you plugging, Chris?
I'd like to plug.
I don't know if you got
This guy.
We already had a problem with him in our Garfunkel today.
Oh, I was listening.
Yeah, that was an uncomfortable moment.
That was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Well, in studio right now is K. Trevor Wilson and Andy Fiore. K. Trevor and Andy will be part of the Comedy Record Showcase at Caroline's tomorrow, October 25th at 7:30 p.m. Carolines.com for tickets. And K. Trevor's new album, Sorry, a Canadian album, comes out on Friday, November 10th. And Andy's album, Plan B, is available now on iTunes.
Andy, the last time that you were here,
Yes,
you beat him in a sandwich contest, and he hasn't gotten over that yet. You each went to your favorite sandwich place.
Yeah, but you made it sound like I out-ate him. Which
you could never do. You could
Good luck
never
with
do.
that.
Yeah.
it was more of a which shop is better.
Yeah.
Which I still don't. Chris, I don't think is ever going to come over.
I think Chris's problem. You brought in hot sandwiches that were cold. You should have brought cold sandwiches.
I brought cold, they brought hot. That was.
Oh, was that right?
Yeah, it was the other way around.
Okay,
But then
you really got beat.
Then the Thrillist, they said Sal, Chris, and Charlie's in the Story of New York was the best sandwich shop in New York City.
Yeah, the Thrillist? What's that?
Thrillist is a great little website.
Is that a
Rod.
publication of note?
Yeah.
Weren't you just saying that you don't believe the Thrillist and you called them the Trollist yesterday?
I love
What was
Thrillist.
that about yesterday?
That was like a couple days ago. You called them the Trollist because...
They had another list.
Oh, I know. It was best band from each state, and we went through and we were disagreeing.
What was New York's?
Television.
New York was television, which is a strange pick.
Their drummer used to come into my bar and not a fan of deodorant.
That's all right.
That's unfortunate for a drummer.
Yeah.
Of all the guys in the band who really need that.
Yeah, big fan of the tank top look
The
too.
most physical member of the band.
But I do like a list because it will make you enraged.
Love a
no matter
list.
what the list is.
Love it.
You're like, how? I'm so much better at the person who made this list.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I like to list everything. Movies.
Big fan of the list.
Directed by female directors. It doesn't matter what it is. I want to be in an argument about a list.
Yeah.
Constantly.
Is there any better way to kill a car ride?
Oh,
the best.
Just
I
the
love
best.
it. Yeah. That or throwing in racist things into album titles is the two things that I'll do. This is just makes it.
A class.
Yeah.
That's a nice spin on a classic.
Yeah. Blank sounds. It'll just go right down.
Exile on Blank Street.
Yeah. Lots been popping for you lately. Are you happy with the career?
It's been pretty crazy.
Yeah.
We actually just yesterday, my TV show Letterkenny in Canada just announced we signed the largest episode order deal in Canadian TV history with Bell Media and New Metric, the producers of the show, a commitment of a minimum 73 episodes over the next few years of Letterkenny. So it's crazy. I have a job.
Right.
I have a job for a while, which like I've been in entertainment since I was 14. So there's one rule I've lived by. It's never trust the entertainment industry. Always have a backup plan and an escape, plan. And it's like kind of crazy. It's like, oh, wow, like for the next 3 years, I'm good.
That's weird, right? That's like
so crazy. So crazy. It's like I this past year, I've been working the hardest I've worked, and it's because I'm still having trouble balancing having a regular gig with the desperation to keep my schedule full as a touring comic. Like I still see those holes in my, like I look 6 months ahead of my calendar and go, I haven't filled that yet.
Yes, yeah.
I'd better call all the bookers I know and fill all those dates. And my girlfriend's like, maybe we can take a trip.
Yeah, that's what happens in the business is like, you're so trained to say yes to anything. Like, oh, you have something horrible planned for me. I'd love to do it. You know what I mean? It goes on like that. So that when you're at the position to turn down work, it feels like the worst thing that you could possibly do. And then people are like, why did you take that movie? And you're like, because I was offered a movie. Right. That's why I took that movie. Like, it's very hard to explain. They think that you could sit and create this beautiful plan. It very rarely happens that, like Brad Pitt can decide what movie he's doing, but 99% of the people will go, oh, work. Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, I better take this before they stop offering.
Yeah. But at what point does that travel and having a gig, when does that start to just destroy the body?
You know what? I'm starting to feel like I'm making plans to take January off.
Yeah.
Because like I'm booked up to the end of the year, and then I'm like looking ahead. We got a cross Canada tour, Letterkenny Live, doing 26 cities.
That's fun, man.
And then we have like the next season of the show after that, and sort of looking ahead. I'm just like, I'm just gonna stop for a bit. I'm gonna go away. Last night I was just pricing vacations to Montego Bay. Just
it's a good idea.
Take a break.
Get the hell out of the cold and go somewhere nice where spot laws are questionable.
It's really cheap to go to Puerto Rico right now. It's really incredibly cheap. You said you started at 14. What were you doing at 14?
I was a kid actor. I think my first job was Goosebumps.
Oh, yeah.
I did 2 episodes of Goosebumps when I was a kid, because they filmed that out of Toronto. So every young Canadian actor did either Goosebumps or Are You Afraid of the Dark at some point. And I was just, I was going to a performance arts high school, and hooked up with an agent I was doing Shakespeare in 9th grade. Wow. And my agent found me throwing myself down a flight of stairs for cheap laughs in the 3rd act, and gave me your card, and I started working. So I did a lot of Disease of the Week films coming up. I did a movie once with Meredith Baxter Birney and Blake Lively's brother called Crash Course, where
I remember
I played a jock. The first and only time I played it. But, it was just a lot of stuff like that, just episodics, weird commercials, and then I started into stand up when I was about 19.
Stand up, was that an easy transition for you, or it's a whole different animal?
I'd always been in love with comedy. Like, it was always my favorite aspect of performance, and I always felt like theater school sort of skimmed over it.
Yes, it is true, isn't it?
And it was like, that's the hardest part. Like, it's easy to make people cry, but to get everyone to laugh, like, that takes knowledge. And so I actually, there's the Humber College in Toronto has a comedy writing and performance program.
Yeah.
And I enrolled in that and started doing stand-up in 2000 in and around Toronto. And you know what? I was really cocky the first time I got up because I'd done theater for, 5 years. I'd been on TV and movies and commercials. So I was like, I know how to do this. I'd done a monologue recital. I'd stood alone on stage and performed, but it's way different when it's your stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, it's one thing when I'm performing, jokes that Shakespeare wrote that have worked for centuries. It's a whole other thing when I'm standing there telling the thing I thought up in my stupid brain. So I think my first show, I got 2 laughs, and one of them was a joke about how poorly I was doing.
Yeah, that's always an easy one to go into.
Those 2 laughs were enough to make me get back up next week and try it again and try it again. And, I had a sketch troupe for 10 years in Canada, and I did a lot of stuff poorly and nothing really well for a while, and then I focused in on stand-up and just was like, I'm going to focus on this until it's a thing.
I was even thinking from theater point of view, there's very few people or really very few really funny plays compared to the tragic, the dramatic, It's really hard to pull that thing off for an hour and 15 live,
And yet, I think that, there's nothing better when you get a real comedic experience in theater.
Yeah.
It's just fantastic.
Sure.
And people do tend to lean for going way melodramatic instead of...
Well, because you don't feel uncomfortable in a quiet room when it's, some kind of drama. But, you could be watching something sailing along, and then something dies, and everyone's just like, uh-oh.
Yep.
We're in a room that a laugh didn't happen.
Yeah. Now what?
Now what? What do we do? Leave? Should we just leave here right now? We're so uncomfortable.
That's how the musical was born.
Here is Lance in Canada. Lance, what's up, buddy?
Hey, guys, I didn't realize who you were talking to until I heard them mention Letterkenny. That show, Ron, have you ever seen it?
No, because we don't get it here in the States, right? It's not...
Yeah, not yet, although they are working on that.
But the fact that I've heard of a show, and this will happen sometimes with England as well, like you will hear of a show before you can see it. I'm like, well, how big must it be that I'm hearing about it,
Well, not only that, these guys must be making some pretty good bank, too, because they're all pretty fucking chunky.
Well, it's Canada.
I believe I'm the only fat guy on the show.
I'm not calling you fat. I'm just saying chunky.
No, I said fat, but if you look at the rest of the guys, geez, I don't think there's an ounce of body fat on them put together. I mean, Jared and the hockey boys are in pretty hard shape.
And by the way, no fat guy goes, he said chunky. Well, that's dodged the bullet there. I feel better now. Husky is even something going on there.
Yeah. I'm in Alberta. We're starving out here.
Yeah.
Anyway, you guys got to see this show. It's fantastic.
All right, thanks, man. Peace.
You'll laugh your ass off.
Thanks so much, Lance.
Here's Brady in Colorado.
Hey, Trevor Wilson. How are you today?
Not too bad, Brady. How are you?
Oh, good. Hey, I wanted to know if you had a date on when you were going to bring it to the States. I've seen a couple of the episodes here and there, and I didn't know who you were until I heard that you were from Letterkenny, and we really love that show.
Chris, you're doing a terrible job with these plugs. It should be coming out all the time.
K. Trevor Wilson from Letterkenny and Andy Fiore are in studio. K. Trevor and Andy will be part of the Comedy Record Showcase at Caroline's tomorrow, October 25th at 7:30 p.m. Carolines.com for tickets. And K. Trevor's new album, and K. Trevor's from Letterkenny, Sorry, a Canadian album, comes out on Friday, November 10th, and Andy's album, Plan B, is available now on iTunes.
Andy, when are you prepared to bring your show to the United States?
Yeah.
Is there any talk about that at all?
No. Well, you know how this industry works. A lot of red tape.
I'm actually not sure when the show's coming to the States, but I know they're in talks to do it. It's just, all that's way out of my pay grade. I'm just an actor. I show up and go where I'm kicked.
But you're having a blast with it, huh?
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. It's like, I was a fan of it back when it was just a web series, and when they turned it into a TV show, I was like, I need to be on this show, and it all worked out. And it's like, I act on my favorite show, and that's
and then here's to me the coolest thing. Then that show can go out on the road, and you guys can perform for the fans of that show. That's a completely different scene than going out there by yourself.
It's kind of like we did a dry run of what's going to be the live show last year at the Sudbury Comedy Festival, and we shoot the show in Sudbury, Ontario. So it was a big deal for them there, and we were really worried because a lot of shows had tried a live version of their show, and it sucked.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to suck. That was our goal. And so like, I think incorporating the fact that like 2 of the members of the cast are touring stand-ups, and we do stand-up in the live show to break it up. We do sketches, which are essentially best-ofs from the show, and we have a multimedia component in never-before-seen shorts that we recorded for the live tour.
I love that, man, and that's something that you could go on and do for years, even after you're done the show. You know, like the kids in the hall go out every 5-6 years, and it's still the same kind of excitement.
Yeah.
You know, live that you've ever seen it. I've never seen audiences pop for anybody like they do for those. And the Python guys had it as well, you know.
I got to do the Calgary Comedy Fest last year and be brought on stage by the kids in the hall. Well, at least 3 of them.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I'm geeking out right now.
Right. And that is just pure hysteria when those guys take that out. It's been a long time since they've done a show, but they're all oddly brilliant. Like, and none of them are similar in the same way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they don't even have the same style. There's no reason that show should work because these guys aren't on the same page, but they just go to different pages at the same time. It's fascinating to see those dudes.
And they're fearless.
Fearless.
Yeah. Scott Thompson is great at brunch. I know that much.
Yeah. Andy, what are your hopes, your dreams? You want to get away from Nick, right?
That's the first order.
Yeah.
That's the first priority.
Yeah.
I mean, that Kay's got a good thing going here.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind doing that.
Who would you get together with? Who are the guys that you feel like you have a connection to in this business?
My buddies, all my neighbors, my buddies. Greg Stone, Anthony DeVito.
Those guys are going nowhere fast.
Nowhere fast.
Yes. Those are rocks that are dragging you down.
Yeah.
Now, those are really funny guys.
I literally just came from showering at their house because I haven't had hot water for the last 3 days.
I thought it was another gay thing.
That sounds
okay.
No.
This is New York City. We're wide open for that. Wide open for that.
But it sounds like an episode.
It does sound like an episode.
Oh, yeah, it could be your first episode.
Yeah.
And you've met Greg Stone's girlfriend because
Many
he
times,
doesn't
yes.
bring her around.
Yeah, and there's only so much pity you can feel for one person living with those 3 guys.
Yeah.
And now being in their shower. I mean, this poor girl must love him. I think that's true love. When you put up with that much.
Oh, some people are into masochism.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't get around that. I was with a girl once that hit me with a shoe. She didn't say it. I just did it. I'm going to be totally honest here. I just hit her with a shoe. It was an urge. They always say if you feel something, go for it.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it's like, you yes-anded.
It's real creativity.
Yeah.
Hey.
Just going with the scene, babe.
Yeah. Chris, you're not plugging? Here's the thing I want to do.
I apologize.
These guys are great.
Yeah.
They're at Caroline's,
Yeah.
which is such a great club. I mean, to me, Caroline's looks like Lucy and Desi should come walking out on that
Right.
stage. You should be playing
The Babalu
drums.
Show.
Yeah, it's just that is what a lot of people who watch television think a New York club looks like.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
Well, I remember watching Caroline's Comedy Hour
Yeah.
on A&E growing up with John Biner.
Yeah, do you even know, like, I think Louis used to write for that show. Jon Stewart used to write for that show. It's crazy, the people that show had. And I pitched them once. I'm like, why don't we get everybody back together and we do, like, a doc of what that experience was like? And they're like, no one would be interested in that. And then I just saw on Hulu the other night, Dana Carvey did it with his show because it was Louis on there, Charlie Kaufman. This show got canceled in 8 episodes, and his backup guys was Stephen Colbert and Steve Carell, and he had everybody, and America just went,
Yeah.
And it's funny.
Didn't the first sketch he played Bill Clinton with 8 nipples?
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
And they think that might have been a mistake.
For an opening sketch, yeah.
They think America might have just said, ah.
And then it followed like Home Improvement, too.
Yes,
it was
followed
its
Home
lead-in
Improvement.
wasn't Great.
This is the thing that they liked, that Louis, he was 29 at the time, and he said, "This is a line in the sand. We are putting that sketch on first." Where
that's what he fought for.
Yeah, he fought against everyone, and they're like, "We're going to back up our 29-year-old head writer. You got to take the risk." They took the risk. They took it. That's how quick, though. Like, if you see something that you find to be unappealing, you don't give it another shot. People are crazy that way.
I've jumped out on first episodes of shows and then had to be coerced back by someone who's like, "Oh no, it's actually a great show." And then I like watch and go, "Oh yeah." But something happens in that first episode where there's always like, it's usually exposition heavy.
Yes.
You're trying to meet all the characters. And then you're like, what is it? Always going to be like that?
Yes.
Like you just assume that it's going to be like that the whole time.
That happened to me with BoJack Horseman.
You couldn't get into it?
I ducked down on the first episode, and then Greg was like, "Dude, you got to be watching this."
Everybody screams at you. You got to watch that. But it's a cartoon.
So I went back.
It's a cartoon, and I feel like a pedophile if I watch a cartoon.
Really?
I just feel like something a man should
Arrested
do.
Development was like that for me. Like
Is that
watching
right?
one
Yeah.
episode, I was like, it's okay. And then I watched, like, they had a mini marathon and 3 were on in a row, and I was like, oh, wow, this is brilliant. They keep bringing stuff back. Which, sitcoms don't do the callback very well all the time.
Most of the time, sitcoms act like nothing has ever happened before
This
that
is the
episode.
first and last day of our lives.
Yeah.
Always.
But I remember you and your brother forced me to binge watch. I think that was my first binge watch show.
Yeah,
Where I'm like-
it was probably,
Yeah. And I was just like, okay, you're right. I didn't think so. And I was like you from the beginning. I'm like, this is silly. This is a little too silly for me. And I just fell right into that world. And that's another one of those shows that they won't let leave. Like they can wait a couple years. Have you guys seen Curb this year?
I love it
No,
so much.
I haven't seen the new stuff.
You don't find it's and I can say this now that the entire cast has been through and left, but it's almost like that thing seems a little dated and of a different time and place.
A little bit. I don't know if maybe because they are getting visibly older.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's just saying that I loved this past Sunday. I thought it was the best one.
This
I
last
thought it was
Sunday,
the best one this season too.
with the exception of something that I think that went too far. There was like a moment
What
that
was
I
it,
went,
Fuck
all
Rock?
right, you took it when
Which
he was
one?
like actually actively yelling at someone while they were mourning someone
Yes.
and like screaming, and I went, okay, this is not
Keep it down.
Yeah.
You know you'll keep it down at a funeral.
But she was very compliant though. That's
Yeah.
what
I
I
know.
didn't. She, I don't-
Exactly.
you know.
I thought for sure she was the mother. I thought he was going to find out
Right.
she was the mother.
But I thought that this last episode was the best.
That felt
one
like a
so
classic
far.
Curb, yeah.
But it has been kind of strange because you're like, I don't know. It still feels like that just happened, but then you realize like a lot has changed since that show has
It was
been on the
17
air.
years ago it started.
Yeah.
17 fucking years.
Doesn't make sense.
I don't understand where time goes anymore.
Ugh. I could watch him and JB Smoove converse all day though.
Well, yeah, JB
I mean-
Smoove
Yeah.
is
You
hilarious.
ever met JB?
No, I've never met him. I saw him in Montreal though a couple years ago, just JBing it up to like,
Yes.
just the friend. What is it? The Palm Streets guys? Just being JB.
He's one of those guys, like, if he comes in to do the show, he tries to change it where everybody's sitting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He wants to know why you're wearing each piece of clothing, what it all means. Yeah, there's just, like, no downtime.
Energetic man.
Yes.
Yeah.
He gave you some of his jewelry last time he was on the show. Let's hear. Put this on.
Don't think that's true, but no, I don't know. It might have happened. I don't know. But you're not plugging anymore.
I apologize.
Letterkenny, Caroline's, Chris.
Letterkenny's
They're not
own-
here because, we have nothing to do today. We want to stop in and see Bennington. They got stuff to promote.
I gotta let everyone know that Letterkenny's own K. Trevor Wilson and Eddie Fiore.
Nice, that's good.
They're gonna be part of the Comedy Records Showcase at Caroline's Comedy Club in New York City tomorrow, October 25th at 7:30 p.m. Go to carolines.com for tickets. And K. Trevor's new album, Sorry, a Canadian album, comes out on Friday, November 10th, and Andy's album, Plan B, is available now on iTunes.
Kid Trevor, you're never leaving Canada, no matter how good things go. You'll always keep your home there.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. My family's there. My girl's there. And like all my stuff's there.
Yeah, all your stuff is already.
It's a big one.
I'm finding like it's not the same as like, the old days. You don't have to move.
Yes,
You know,
it's true.
like, with the internet and everything, you can be there.
Yeah.
In theory, and I like visiting places, but I like my home. You know, like I'm rooted there. I got a good thing going. I live on top of a supermarket. I'm not going to find that again.
That's just like an extension of your kitchen. It's like I have a really
I call
big
it a
kitchen.
pantry. It's like I don't keep produce in the house anymore. It's like I need a banana. I go downstairs.
That's phenomenal.
Nothing ever goes bad in my fridge anymore.
I used to live on 12th Street, right behind that Cinema East Village.
Yes.
And I about 5 or 6 times just went down there and got movie popcorn and brought it back upstairs. Just because you can't replicate that.
Yeah, but
you know?
it's a little more expensive. You
Ron, you pay for quality. You know,
pennies.
I'm not.
And it's $12 a bucket.
I pay for what I want.
I don't even say you went to a movie anytime you went.
No, just go in and out.
It is so cheap to buy unpopped popcorn.
Yes.
It is. They will just give it to you.
Yes. There's no more markup than there is on popcorn. It is the biggest markup.
You can't replicate it.
Explodes. It's suddenly $8 more expensive per pound.
I'm even trying to think. Is there anything else that's that much cheaper than it is to order out? I don't think anything comes close.
Rice
to that.
is pretty like like sometimes you'll look at it like a rice dish and you go, this is 99% rice.
Right.
The cheapest thing on earth.
Yeah.
Same idea.
You might know this, but I mean, just even as a touring comic, just leaving New York City, the disparities. You go, oh right, a Bud Light should cost $2.50.
It is like if you live in Manhattan and then you travel, it seems like they're giving you free food.
Right, that's exactly
particularly, and I don't know why it's so extreme, but particularly breakfast.
Yeah.
I'm like, so breakfast is free.
Yeah.
So breakfast is free everywhere else but New York.
If you're up before 8, breakfast is like a nickel. Here's a coffee and all the pancakes you can eat. Just kiss our waitress on the cheek lightly. And we'll give it to you.
Yeah, when you're down south, you can still hear change at the table for tips. You're like, how can this be?
Yeah.
Here's all my money. Thanks for the eggs, is what we say in Manhattan. But even apartments and stuff like that, is that crazy?
Crazy.
When you find out that somebody's paying like $600 or something, like.
Are you ever more jealous when you hear somebody who has a rent control place?
Oh, Chris does. Chris pays. What do you pay? $700
for one
And what
bedroom.
do you think your neighbors are paying? Like $3,000-$4,000?
They're paying about $3,000 a month if they're renting in the house or in the apartment building. Yeah, it's nice.
Now you have to be careful because sooner or later your landlord's going to have you killed.
That's the downside,
dude. I've
seen several Law and Orders about that.
They do. They do that all the time. And old guys in my neighborhood would tell me, like, say they see that new building, they said they burn out the old one with people still inside it. They swear to me that these people burned families so that they could end up building a new, fresh building. It happened back in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
My manager and I were talking about that in Toronto. There's a couple buildings downtown, old heritage buildings that developers bought and then found out that they couldn't tear down because they had historical value, and magically they all burnt down in
they
about
burnt
3
down.
years' time.
Yeah.
All within like a few blocks of each other too. And it's just like, God, and no one investigated that.
No.
Right. But then, Ron, there's always that thing you hear about, like East Village buildings in like the late 70s and 80s were getting sold for like $5 or something, as long as they kept up the city taxes, and now they're just worth gajillions.
Well, when Willem Dafoe was in here, he said that he used to just live in a building free. They just went in, jimmied the door open, ran an electrical cord in from like a light, and it was Soho. It's like the most expensive. They would just have these giant lofts, and a bunch of these artists would just live there and paint and do sculpture. And then, now those built the same room.
Yeah.
Are $8-9 million.
Yeah.
And they knew what was going. Like, those things weren't like regular people weren't buying that stuff too. It was all connected.
Right.
Yeah, have you seen The Deuce?
Yes, I'm watching it. Yeah.
Yeah, New York's got a shady, weird history. All right, Mark from Vermont wants to talk to us. Go ahead, Mark.
Hey, Ronnie. Hey, guys. I love your show.
Thanks.
Hey, you were talking a couple minutes ago about popcorn being so cheap.
Yeah.
I have a restaurant up here. I've got club soda on the gun. It costs me the CO2 that goes into it. It's fucking pure profit. It's unbelievable.
So fucked up.
You're always saying to people, club soda. Club soda. Tell off that club soda for you.
I think once they got away.
Do I get a free refill? No.
No. You're paying. You're paying.
You're charging people for club soda?
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
My life was bad.
We're in the money. Club soda gun just shooting off.
How much for the limes? That's the question.
Yeah, it's a little pricey.
I think once they got away from the water jug and the gun, their profit margins skyrocketed after that.
Yeah, what did they even use when that thing? What was that called? That had a
seltzer
name.
bottle.
Yeah, it was a seltzer, but they would always in a movie end up squirting somebody in the face with it. That was pure hilarity.
Yeah,
of the 1930s
at its best.
Yeah. Glenn, Nova Scotia.
Yeah, buddies. Hey, good to hear the boys from Letterkenny or the guy from Letterkenny on the air. It's a phenomenal show. We love it. It's great. We're up in Trailer Park Country Boys country here, and we just lost Leahy.
Yeah,
stuff with
John Dunsworth, good guy.
He was a phenomenal guy. Right now, I'm about about a half a mile from his house. Just saw him a couple of weeks ago. He's a great guy, and it's a big loss for us. But Letterkenny is a great show. Get out and see him tonight, and watch the show. And thanks for supporting it, Ronnie. It means a lot to us.
Chris, this is the way you plug. Glenn has got the plugs down. By the way, Canadians do love Canadians. It's very true of them. They're very supportive of Canadians. And they take a lot of pride with Canadians who have any kind of success. They'll make a list of
It is true. It is true. We were actually just talking about, when Gretzky got traded to the Kings, how, all of Canada was depressed after that. We all mourned that. And it's not like we all cheered for the Oilers when he was on it.
Right.
Once he left the country, we were heartbroken.
Suddenly then. But it is strange that your national sport got co-opted. It's one thing for, Buffalo or Boston to have teams, but Florida? That's weird.
Weird fact, hockey's not Canada's national sport.
What is?
Lacrosse.
Really?
Wow, that is amazing.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, lacrosse is Canada's national sport.
Another insane game where people run into each other. It's a very physical country.
I think the name the Algonquins had for lacrosse translate to Little Brother of War.
Wow. So you would play, that's the truth. These games were don't have a war. You're going to play lacrosse. And it was like progression.
Right.
You know?
It's the little brother of war.
Have you ever seen the lacrosse goalie's pads? He looks like he's teaching self-defense to rape survivors.
Yeah.
Kick him in the junk, poke him in the eye.
Yeah.
No.
Those are my two sports. High school.
Is that right?
Hockey and lacrosse. Yeah. Hockey. This is why hockey's my favorite thing ever. I grew up since I was 3.
Yeah.
My mom took me as a way to stay cool in the summer. You could go public skating. And then she goes, you just took to it. And then it was a lifelong love affair.
You don't ever remember not skating in your life?
No.
There was no pre-skating time for you?
No.
That's interesting, man.
Yeah.
It's the only way to learn anything. Learn another language.
Yeah.
But you can't teach adults shit. We stop being able to learn.
I'm a terrible skater, but my earliest memory is swimming.
Really?
Swimming?
Yeah.
I don't think I ever remember not swimming.
I don't remember, in Florida, I grew up there, and so, of course, you chuck kids in the water really early.
Yeah.
Well, I don't remember ever not being able to swim.
When you have a kid in Florida, you're like, please swim. Be able to swim or else we'll never relax again.
Right, exactly.
There's lakes, and if it rains, suddenly the whole backyard is the ocean. So you're like, swim for your life, little one. Chris Stanley can't swim.
Never learned how to swim.
Really?
2 things about him. Never learned how to swim.
Nope.
Doesn't have a single living relative. He's the endling of his tribe.
Is that true?
The last person.
The last Stanley?
Yeah.
The last Stanley, yeah. No one else, everyone else passed away.
He doesn't have an uncle, a cousin, nothing. I've never met another human being like that.
I bet we could scrounge somebody up. Ancestry.com, bro.
I don't even know if I'd want it.
I think he takes pride in being the last one, I think.
Because
What if you find you're related to Paul Stanley?
Oh, that would be worse. Gene held us back. I came up with the cat, but went Starman.
I went Star Child. Yeah.
It's so funny that's a rock and roll guy when he talks, because he's just like any old Jewish lady in Brooklyn. Fuck the critics.
I
We knew
remember
we were good.
he came to Toronto and did Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, yeah,
when I was a teenager. I was just like, the guy from Kiss is doing Phantom.
And you see it's just theater. Kiss is,
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
I always think that a lot of even heavy metal is theater.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? It's just the
Guar
same.
is
Sure.
theater.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
But even that theater voice, the theater way of
projecting
the whole
voice
thing,
and
yeah.
character.
It
instead
is a hell of a
being-
live show, though. Kiss Live is still one of the best concerts I've ever gone to.
That's
I mean,
what
just-
that's what they set out to do. And they plan on doing it even when it's not them. Paul Stanley said, "Why would we stop the band just because we're not doing it?"
Yeah.
They're just going to promote Kiss shows.
I've seen.
and they won't be there.
I haven't seen Real Kiss. I've seen Midget Kiss though.
My Midget Kiss is.
It's a hell of a show.
The only thing I like better than Midget Kiss is Midget Bret Hart. When, Bret Hart is here, and they brought out a midget. I like medieval times. People were cheering and pointing.
Right.
Like I don't know if I could join in.
Throwing cabbage.
Midget Medieval Times is also a good show.
The wrestling minis are always a funny.
Always the best.
Mini
shit.
anything is fun.
Yeah.
Great to me.
But I'm like Skylo Low to me, maybe one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. All right, we got to wrap this up.
Little Beaver, the best name in professional wrestling.
The star of Letterkenny, K. Trevor Wilson.
Yes, everybody, congratulations.
Thanks
sir.
for having me.
And Andy Fiore have been in studio. K. Trevor and Andy will be part of the Comedy Records Showcase at Caroline's tomorrow, October 25th at 7:30 p.m. Go to carolines.com for tickets. And K. Trevor's new album, Sorry, a Canadian album, comes out on Friday, November 10th. And Andy's album, Plan B, is available now on iTunes.
And 4 people in that show, right?
Yes.
I like that. I like a
And I think
fast-moving show like
NAFTA is the promo code, right? Yeah, for cheaper tickets online. NAFTA. Yeah, pop that in. And
It's interesting. All right, guys. Good to see you.
Thank you so much for having me.
again.
Thanks for the very interesting Art Garfunkel, who was here today, decided he needed coffee, left for 10 minutes, and then came back. It was fantastic.
It was amazing.
We'll see you all again in 1974.
Ladies and gentlemen, the evening is over. We hope you all enjoyed yourselves, and we'll see you all again in 1974. Good evening!